With just 2 weeks or so to go in the regular season, it is still mathematically possible that Alex Ovechkin can break Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record in less games in which Gretzky has played. Ovechkin is at 1485 games played. He can break that record tonight with a hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks. And for all intents and purposes, Chicago's regular season is coming to a close. They are already eliminated from the playoff chase. Washington has clinched a playoff spot, the first team to do so this season. And they're looking for a spot that's at the top of the Eastern Conference, as well as home ice advantage for the entirety of the Eastern Conference portion of the playoffs, but also the entirety of the NHL by winning the President's Trophy. However, the last team to win the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup of the same season is the team that they're facing right now, which came just 12 years ago, back when the Blackhawks had Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Alex Ovechkin being one of the biggest key faces of the NHL in his current era. He's in a position where he can establish himself as the all-time leading goal scorer tonight. If not tonight, then in a couple of games. Hello everyone, I am Alec Nava as we go on to our projected starting lineups for this game, beginning with the Chicago Blackhawks. Ryan Donato, Connor Bedard, Ilya Mikheyev, Teuvo Teravainen, Frank Nazar, Tyler Bertuzzi, Landon Slaggert, Oliver Moore, Philip Kurashev, Nick Foligno, Joe Veleno, and Pat Maroon, who, by the way, is going to retire at the end of this season. Alex Vlasic with Sam Rinzo, Wyatt Kaiser, Artyom Levshinov, and Kevin Korshinsky with Connor Murphy. Spencer Knight to be starting in goal. Arvid Soderblom is the backup. Scratches are Lucas Reichel, TJ Brody, Louis Crevier, and Ethan Del Mastro. Injured are Laurent Brossoit, Colton Dock, Alec Martinez, and Jason Dickinson. Dickinson out for the rest of the year. Brossoit has not played at all this season. For Washington, their lineup goes like this. Ovechkin, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Tom Wilson, Alexei Protas, Dylan Strome, Ryan Leonard, who just signed an entry-level deal with the Capitals after Boston College had an unceremonious exit in the regional final against Denver. Andrew Mangiapane, Lars Eller, Taylor Radish, Brandon Duhaime, Nick Dowd, and Connor McMichael. Rasmus Sandin with John Carlson, Jacob Chikrin with Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Martin Ferravari with Matt Roy, Charlie Lindgren to be starting at net because Logan Thompson exited the game against the Hurricanes with an injury. Hunter Shepard will be the backup. Thompson's dealing with an upper body injury, the same injury that Sonny Milano was injured. Alex Alexeyev, Ethan Frank, Dylan McElrath, and Anthony Beauvillier are the healthy scratches for tonight's game. As everyone is huddled up at center ice. Capitals at the second best points percentage in the league at 700, trailing only the Winnipeg Jets, league leading 108 points in 76 games by only 3 points, both a game in hand, and a race to see which team gets the President's Trophy. The Jets are 7-3-0 in their last 10 games, while the Capitals are 5-4-1. The Caps fell 5-1 to the Hurricanes on Wednesday, though it was the second game in a back-to-back situation, where Ovechkin was the only goal scorer for the Capitals. That was the only thing that went right for them in that game, that he scored. And it was a one-time bomb from the top of the left circle on a power play for the only goal of that game. Otherwise, it was all Hurricanes, and Jalen Chatfield raw-dogged his man in a fight and threw him down. So speaking of Ovechkin, let's get to the big story. Will he break Gretzky's record against the Blackhawks? It's going to take a hat trick, which is obviously more difficult than him being just to go away. But Ovechkin has 2 other hat tricks already this season, and he's very motivated. So there's a real possibility. So possible that Gretzky is in attendance, and so several of Ovechkin's former teammates in case if it happens. So Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, Braden Holtby, Brooks Orpik, and Devontae Smith-Pelly were watching the Capitals' morning skate. As Ovechkin came off 10 minutes in, Backstrom looked up at the clock and playfully cracked, "That's it, man?" Ovi shrugged and laughed, says Capitals beat reporter Tariq El-Bashir. Ovechkin obviously leads the Capitals in goal scoring at 39, and is also the team leader in points per game at 1.12. His primary center, Dylan Strome, is next to .97 points per game with a team-high 73 points in 75 games. And then there are 4 other forwards that produce at .6 or better. Alexei Protas, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Tom Wilson, and Connor McMichael. Defensively, Jacob Chikrin and John Carlson being the two-headed offensive monster. It's one of the most productive top 6 groups in the league with solid contributions for their defense. And it's not surprising that the Caps have the top goals rate in the league. So the lineups will be somewhat similar to how they rolled against Carolina, or they are exactly the same for that part, with Lindgren being the key difference. The main changes will be Taylor Radish coming in for Anthony Beauvillier among the forward side, while Matt Roy will return to replace Dylan McIlrath on defense. Logan Thompson was injured during the Carolina game, so Charlie Lindgren will be in net. And while he was solid last season, he's been a serviceable backup, albeit at an .899 save percentage. Alright, so as for Chicago, as we look at them, for the Chicago Blackhawks, they've won just once in their last 10, despite many feeling more competitive as of late. They dropped a 3-2 game to the Colorado Avalanche Wednesday night, not holding a 2-goal lead going into the third and losing the shootout. Still, the Avalanche are one of the best teams in the league, so it wasn't unexpected for the Blackhawks to lose, and it was honestly commendable that the game took until the shootout to be decided. Connor Murphy had a goal and assist. Ilya Mikheyev scored a shorty for Chicago, who have lost 4 in a row, and Spencer Knight made 29 saves. The Blackhawks lines and pairings remain basically untouched with the previous game against the Avalanche, save for 2 changes. Kurashev is in for Lucas Reichel, and Kevin Korchinski is in for Ethan Del Mastro for Anders Sorensen's squad. Reichel is a healthy scratch because he missed a team meeting, and Sorensen said, quote, "Gotta be a pro." The Blackhawks actually won the last time around against the Capitals, coming back after being down 2-0 going into the third and then winning 3-2. That game was in mid-December, so only a couple of weeks into Sorensen's tenure as the interim head coach when the Blackhawks were running a bit of a new coach high. It was during that high that the McCabe and Teravainen connection was made, and the two combined for the most points in that particular game as well. McCabe scored a shorty, and that assist while Teravainen had 3 assists. So, a lot of Ovechkin's former teammates out here among the opening puck drop, the ceremonial opening puck drop: Braden Holtby, Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, and Devontae Smith-Pelly. All 4 of them being crucial to the 2018 Stanley Cup run. Backstrom and Oshie are technically still on the roster, but are effectively on career-ending LTIR, as they have suffered injuries in which they are likely not to be playing for the rest of their careers. Backstrom last attempted a comeback last season, but only played 8 games before effectively being ruled out for the year. He has not played at all this season and is not expected to do so. TJ Oshie, likewise for him. And as such, Washington had to reload and restock on forwards in the offseason, so as to place Oshie and Backstrom on the LTIR. Oshie's coming out now, wearing the number 77, and Backstrom in the number 19. Of course, a lot of former Capitals players coming out to watch him dice it out. And a lot of notable Capitals players throughout OV's tenure. Mike Knuble being one of them. Sergei Fedorov. And a lifelong Capital, Nicholas Backstrom. So we speak of former Washington Capitals, who's that are key pieces to this team all throughout. Mike Green as well. Who, by the way, Mike Green, he was the last defenseman before this season to score 30 goals in a single NHL season. That's now matched by Cale Makar with his 30 goals this year. And he's positioning himself to be the leader for the Norris Trophy once again. Nicholas Backstrom getting ready for the ceremonial opening puck drop between Ovechkin So as we go for the ceremonial puck drop, captains Alex Ovechkin and Nick Foligno will drop the puck at center ice. as Ovechkin gets set to pursue Gretzky's record. We already saw one Gretzky record get broken earlier this season. And it's not just one puck, it is 5 hockey pucks getting dropped onto the ice. Brooks Orpik is also in the scene as well. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, won one with the Penguins in 2009 and one with the Capitals in 2018. The handshakes as Ovechkin embraces his former teammates, Smith-Pelly, Holtby, Backstrom, Oshie, and Orpik. It's been on both sides of the Capitals-Penguins rivalry. As they all walk off, and they'll be somewhere on this venue. And an embrace from Devontae Smith-Pelly and Pat Maroon at the end, because this is also Maroon's final season in the NHL. The former Capitals walk off onto the Washington locker room, and they embrace the coaching staff. Spencer Carberry, who is Washington's current head coach in his second year, by the way, guiding them to the top record in the Eastern Conference. Who knows if home ice advantage is going to be secured for the entirety of the Eastern Conference portion of the playoffs, or maybe even both sides of the playoffs. So now, as we're almost ready to get set here, from Washington, D.C., the United States capital, Ryan Leonard playing in his third game in the NHL. He made his debut earlier this April, right after the Boston College Eagles lost to the Denver Pioneers in the second round of the Frozen Four tournament. Denver is going to advance to the Frozen Four seeking to defend their title in the Frozen Four. They'll be matched up. They'll be matched up against the Western Michigan Broncos, while the Boston University Terriers face the Penn State Nittany Lions. It is Penn State's first ever Frozen Four appearance after knocking off the Yukon Huskies in the Allentown Regional Final and the Maine Black Bears in the Regional Semifinal. Maine was the top seed in the Allentown Regional. Penn State was the 4th seed. Though it can be said that Penn State was the toughest out of the tournament, knowing that they have knocked off giants before. That the Nittany Lions are giant killers, as they did beat the Michigan State Spartans and the Minnesota Golden Gophers before. They have also knocked off the Michigan Wolverines in the Big Ten tournament before falling to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State themselves got blown out by the Terriers, but this is Penn State's biggest test of the Frozen Four. If the great chase continues, then I'll be covering the Frozen Four game between BU. If the great chase continues, then I'll be covering the Capitals game that will be taking place on the same day as BU facing off against Penn State. You see some archival photos of the Gr8 himself, Alex Ovechkin. He has dominated the NHL goal-scoring books upon his 20 years of playing in the National Hockey League. He and Nicholas Backstrom have been teammates and brothers for years upon years. And now that he is an elder statesman of the NHL, one can say that he is not retiring until he breaks the goal-scoring record of Wayne Gretzky. Until he breaks the goal-scoring record of Wayne Gretzky. So now we get set. Just 3 goals to go here for Ovechkin. Start the first period. Soon enough, John McIsaac drops the puck and let's go! Chicago retreats back to their own zone as they're moving it up for the far side of the ice. Bo Haikidis is the other referee. We do have a clock malfunction here at the Capital One Arena as it's stuck at 20 minutes. Not the first time this has happened, as Rinzo will move it up for the far side. CJ Murray and Devin Berg are linesmen. Near corner, as Maroon gets turned around, the 4th line is starting here for the Blackhawks as they keep it in. Onto the far side, Maroon, who is now behind the net and then moving out towards the near corner. Strome is on it. Maroon retreats back to the point for Murphy, who finds Korchinski. Moving around Valeno with a deep shot. Bounces up and around. Lindgren makes the opening save. It's held in by Maroon, who sends this out behind. Murphy grabs it and then backhands this one off onto the opposite point. And it's worked onto the outside far corner for Veleno. And now the clock is back up and running. It is back underway. Bedard fires from deep and Lindgren sees it all the way. So now the clock is rolling. It shows 1 minute and 6 seconds gone here in the first period. That's what showed after the initial malfunction. So far, so good for Carberry's unit in his second year as the Capitals head coach. This year, Washington is 24-8-6 when being the home team. Anders Sorensen, 13-28-8 are the Blackhawks under Sorensen. As Washington wins this faceoff, and they clear it out to center ice. It's poked away. Chicago moved this one up through the near side. In pursuit is Mangiapane, who had this one knocked away. And this bounces on for the right circle, held in by Donato. One-timer left circle, and Lindgren turns away Bedard. Mangiapane misses the puck, picks it back up. He'll retreat it back. That's actually Dubois. And up for the far side, the Caps will move it up for the far side of the ice. 3-on-2. Quick shot, kicked out. The rebound could not be picked up by the Caps. Bedard moves back with this. Bedard cut off by Ferravari, but is held in by Teravainen. From the top of the right circle, Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi backhands one. On for Teravainen, who just sends one on to Lindgren, who just hang on to that one on the glove. Already 5 saves by Lindgren as Rinzo won a piece of action. Low seam pass from Donato onto the bottom left circle for Bedard, who immediately thinks about a shot. One-timing this right onto Lindgren. Radish, who fills in for Anthony Beauvillier on the ice. It's Rinzo fires this one wide. Another young forward for Chicago. Vlasic could not hold this one inside, but cuts off one pass and will send this deep. Lindgren lost his stick. He has it behind his crease. Nazar tries to center, but couldn't do so, and Vlasic will hold this one inside and is poked away by Lars Eller. Around through the boards. Washington moves this one through. Ferravari bouncing puck onto the near side boards, and it's picked that back up by Nazar. Lindgren still about a stick. Nazar kicked out the rebound and swept away. Nazar keeps inside. Another shot is blocked, and the Capitals pick this one up as Bertuzzi loses an edge. Eller tries to clear, couldn't do so, and sends a dangerous pass onto his left side defenseman. Lindgren can safely pick up a stick as it's picked up by Korchinski at the Chicago end of the ice. Washington picks it up at the Chicago zone. It bounces on for the right point and then sent across with Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun lost the puck but quickly picks it back up and walks the point on through center. Chychrun fires, blocked in front, is picked up by the speedy Oliver Moore. Moore, with a ton of skating ability, moves up for the right side. Moore stops, and he bounces this one. He intended to pass this one onto the right point man, but lost an assignment. That was Artem Levshinov, who was supposed to be there, and sent it for the near side for Moore. Skating on for the far half boards is Landon Slager. Trevor Van Riemsdyk cuts off the approaching Blackhawks. Moore keeps this one in through. This young Blackhawks team with several young players and teenagers on the squad, including Bedard and Levshinov. On the left side, Duhaime walks this through. Duhaime trying to break free. Duhaime fires. And right off of Spencer Knight, it deflects out, and Duhaime wants a piece of Levshinov. Immediately, quickly behind the net, Lindgren gets tangled up and lost his stick at the trapezoid, so he has to think quickly to get back onto the crease because there's no time to pick up the stick. A quick shot from deep from Chychrun gets blocked away, but the speed that Moore possesses is lethal. Dylan Strome wins the face-off and it will be picked up by Sandin. The Sandman fires this one wide, held through by Strome. Strome, one-timer, bounces in! 2 goals from forever! Alex Ovechkin 1 away from tying Wayne Gretzky 2 away from the record, but this one takes 2 bounces. One of them right off the post, and then off the back of Spencer Knight. Talk about a pinball machine. That puck had eyes. Only 2 goals to go for Ovechkin. And this one almost looked like it crossed the goal line at first. Only 2 goals to go. And here the chase is onwards, and it might be nearing its conclusion. Could it be tonight? That is a question. Dubois sends it up for the far side, and Protas in a chase for it. The towering, hulking forward lost the foot race. You want the slower forwards out there, as he is a great power forward. Bedard dumps this one inside. Lindgren has to retreat as the Blackhawks win the foot race. Could not be held inside by Korchinski, and out of his crease is Knight. Ovechkin, goal number 893 of his career. 1 away from 894. Could we see the history marker? A tie-up. And Lindgren comes out of his crease to play this one out. On the far corner, this gets sent onto the opposite corner. Chicago's fired 7 times on Lindgren. He's turned away all of them. Murphy keeps this one inside past Teuvo Teravainen. Teravainen, the former Hurricane, keeps this one inside, but he was tangled up. On the near side, several stick checks, and this gets poked away by Washington. Bounces on above the penalty box doors, where it was Nick Dowd in pursuit. And there he is, Ovi. A lot of fans in the building, including the great one himself. And a pinball machine, Gretzky knows that history could be in the making. He was waiting for the puck at the bottom right circle. And off at the left post, he banks this one through, and then off of the back of Spencer Knight. And here's slap shot the Eagle, getting down the banners for 893. He's the first player in NHL history with at least 3 40-plus goal seasons at age 35 or older. A drive by the Blackhawks was stopped wide, and this bounces up and will be collected by Moore for Wyatt Kaiser. For the far side, a tangle up allows the Capitals to restart with the puck. It is Chychrun. Chychrun on a cross. Van Riemsdyk dumps this one inside and pursues Chychrun, with Slager tying him up. This bounces directly onto McMichael, who gets it to Dowd. Nick Dowd looks on the right point, across for Duhaime. Van Riemsdyk. McMichael again. Van Riemsdyk unloads one and is bounced off of Knight. Duhaime tangled up behind the net by Levshinov and continues to do so by Kaiser, and is freed up by Dowd. Van Riemsdyk around for Dowd, who sets up McMichael. This one stopped by Knight. Rebound in front. Knight turns away another one. The Capitals fired up after the Ovechkin goal. This could be the momentum that will energize them on the chase for the points lead in the NHL. Sandin collects it from Lindgren, Dylan Strome, and the second line is back out there. Strome leads the way, directs traffic onto the right point, then across for Sandin as Strome moves in front. Sandin deflected right onto Knight, and Chicago will move this one onto the opposite boards. Chicago is 7-26-4 when they allow the first goal of a game this season. Not too hot there. On the far side, drop pass for Rinzo. Rinzo fires, save, and the rebound could not be fired home. There was a wide open net. It comes out in front, backhander, and that one blocked away, but it's kept inside by Rinzo. Opposite side is Vlasic. Vlasic fires this one wide, and it'll be picked up at center ice by Rinzo away from Wilson. But now it's Sandin who leads this back inside for Ovechkin. Sandin. Ovechkin freed up at the top of the slot. And now here comes Chicago with Donato in a foot race with Matt Roy, who will win it and force an icing. Spencer Knight, 15-14-2 so far this season. Trade mid-season in exchange for Seth Jones. 2 draft picks, one from Florida, one from Chicago, going in for each other as part of the trade as well. Knight has been up and down Chicago, but for the standards, given how Chicago's defensive unit is young, The 890 save percentage, 892, maybe even 900 is good for our standards. The Caps send this into the Chicago zone on a dump in, and the Blackhawks will look to regroup and move it up. From the far side is Korchinski. Korchinski tries to fake it out and then move it up for the far side. As they get started, this takes a bounce, and then Mikheyev gets tangled up by Fehérváry. Fehérváry controls on his backhand, bounces up, and out for the near half boards. It'll be sent into the neutral zone where Ryan Leonard is in pursuit. He'll go for a change. Leonard takes one of his first shifts of this game. As the Blackhawks trying to tie this game up. This bounces up and is collected over or behind the net by Tyler Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi's tangled up. Bedard sends this one out to the top slot for Levchinov. Left point, the Blackhawks, they get dispossessed and then chase for the puck. And that was, I believe, McMichael moving it up. And now for the far side, Nazer, who tries to set up front. Couldn't do so as Chikrin blocked it away. Chicago wants to return the favor, but Washington's beating them defensively. A nice pass up front over to Bertuzzi on for the near corner. Here's Kaiser. Back for Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi, his shot took a wild block, and it goes over to the opposite side, near the Washington bench. Down goes one of the Capitals. We do not have any penalties so far as to speak of. And this goes down deep, wide of Knight. And Taylor Radish could not pick this puck up. And off for the left point is Sandin. Top swap, Mangiapane sends this down low. Radish dispossessed, but Eller is there to keep. Eller moves around onto the far corner. Watched by Kaiser. On for Mangiapane. Closed off by Rinzo, helping him is Radish. On for the right point, a deep blast. And this gets blocked up and out of play with 10:43 to go. Alex Ovechkin, just 2 goals to go. He sits at 893 career goals. Will we reach 895 before the end of tonight? He got a hat trick to reach 800. Will we get a hat trick to reach 895? We'll be back. A sold-out crowd here at Washington, D.C. Gretzky in attendance, Ovechkin here. History being made tonight. And career hat tricks, Ovechkin was 16 at home, 16 on the road, 13 his first 10 seasons, 19 his last 10 seasons, has won against the Blackhawks. That one when he reached 800 career goals. And that was with Steve Levy on the call. The NHL on ESPN. The current rendition of the NHL on ESPN, but Levy's been around for the 2 most recent editions of the NHL on ESPN. Dubbed Mr. Overtime, as he is called, 3 of the top 10 longest NHL games in history. Top 5 when you account for the fact that it's televised. Off the face-off, it was a tie-up. It'll be collected by the Blackhawks. They send this one out for Maroon. Maroon moves it up. It gets by Foligno. Carlson sends it up for Sandin and backhands it on for Ovechkin. He needs 2 more. Up through the ice, this gets bounced up and a trip. This looks to be a penalty. Well, not right now it seems, as the Blackhawks will look to set up. And this gets bumped up on for the far side. It'll be slowed down by Lindgren. No penalty. No penalty. I thought it was going to be a trip, but no penalty is called on the ice. That's one of the strangest no calls here in the NHL. I thought there was going to be a tripping penalty. On the far side, the Blackhawks want to send a message to the Capitals. On for the near corner, Chicago feels trapped. Nowhere to go here, and it'll be sent behind. Washington moving up for the near side. Tom Wilson spins around. Wilson moves it up, and will send it up for the Chicago empty ice. Murphy for Korchinski. Korchinski through the far side, bounces up, and a race for the puck. Mikheyev the first one past Fehervari. Fehervari dispossessed him as he knocked it free, and moving it up is Roy. The shutdown duo of this Capitals team. Here comes Alexei Protas. Protas across, in front, Knight crashes down. Where's the puck? It's behind the net. Moves it up for Chikrin. Over the right side, quick shot. Gets blocked away. Dubois holding this one inside. Leonard sets up in front. Dubois gets knocked away. Oh, wow. That was so close to coming to a goal as this was knocked inside. Chikrin picks it up as the Blackhawks go for a change. Washington gets dispossessed on the exit as Bertuzzi keeps this one inside the Capital zone. Bedard tied up by Chikrin. Bedard still in pursuit of the puck. This bounces on for the far side, and this gets collected by the Caps. Moving up for the middle, this is Duhaime. Leonard tried to reach in for the puck, gets knocked loose by Murphy. On the far side, Dowd muscles the puck free for a split second before Bedard reaches back onto the book of magic tricks. Bertuzzi on the point, tied up at the blue line, but manages to keep the puck in his zone. Bertuzzi, Teravainen just holds it in, and on for the far side, Bedard. Nice move on Chikrin. Trying to fake him out. Chikrin is not fooled a single bit. Lindgren holds the right side to post, and Washington gets back with this up through the wings. And out through center, a knock off the puck, and on the right side, Rinzo directs this inside. Lindgren, sticking on for the far side, gets this one out. Did get this one to center. Good job forcing offside that time around. So Chicago will have to get a face-off outside the zone. We'll step away in just a moment. I'm Alec Nava. The Capitals up 1-0 thanks to none other than the Gr8. Wayne Gretzky, an immediate Hockey Hall of Fame inductee for how outstanding he was on the ice. Hockey Hall of Fame class of 1999 as Ovechkin recognizes him up from the ice level, looks onto him, who is seated over at the press box stands in a box office suite, and the Capitals fans applaud him here. The excitement in this building, unlike any other. He just needs 2 more tonight. Ovechkin with the most first period goals all time in NHL history, 242. Gretzky at 241. Phil Esposito at 240. 8 shots apiece between Chicago and Washington. Chicago dominated the shot board early, but it's been all Washington ever since. And Spencer Knight has been tested ever since the Ovechkin goal. Left circle. Collected on for the left point. They just managed to hold this one inside. The Capitals collect this one up after an errant pass, and they move this out for center. Bouncing puck will be collected by Rinzel. Rinzel off for the far boards. It'll be deflected back towards him. Has Vlasic with him on his right side. And Rinzel moves it up near the penalty box doors. Rinzel thought about passing this one up and is tied up at the near corner. And then behind the net, this gets sent in front, intercepted by Dowd. The Capitals move it back up for the left side as a Sandin, who sends this one through. And right behind the net, Sandin gets tangled up by Korshinsky. Forced out on a shovel. And then near side, Teravainen gets tangled up, recollected by Ovechkin. Strome looks Ovechkin's way. Ovechkin dangles. Ovechkin sets up in front. Couldn't get anything there, and this bounces out through center. And now onto the Washington zone. The Capitals get this back up, and then for the near side, Strome lifts this one on behind him, and now on for Matt Roy. Roy looks for several seconds, and then moves out front for Ovechkin. Ovechkin far corner. It's recollected by Wyatt Kaiser, who sends it for Teravainen. And if you're a goaltender here, and Nazar, who's sprinting down, and Faravari tried to poke check the puck, went down and lost his stick. And on for the right side, right in front, they score! Bertuzzi! Right in front of the doorstep, evens this one up at 1. Wide open at the top of the top corners, both corners, that is. As his 21st of the season, what has been an otherwise disappointing year for him. Faravari lost his stick. That's what started this one all. Nazar, a University of Michigan alumnus, feeds an open Bertuzzi, who initially gets this back in front for Landon Slaggert. Slaggert sees his shooting lane get closed off entirely, so he defers onto the opposite side for Bertuzzi. Lindgren tried to go sprawling right to left, but in the process loses stick. Or even up at 1. And if you're a goaltender who's playing up against the Capitals, you would hate to be that goaltender allowing the goal that breaks the goal scoring record. On center ice, this gets moved up onto the right side, no offside on Lars Eller's part. Bounced out past Chikrin and on through center ice, and the Caps pick it back up. Van Riemsdyk. This moves moved up and bounces on for the left circle. Mangiapane sent across. It was pickpocketed by Kaiser, who sends this one out. The Blackhawks out all sorts of space, not anymore, as it gets sent across and up for the far half boards. Now sent behind. Moving up front for Mangiapane. Mangiapane gets back in. He's waiting for reinforcements. Mangiapane drops this one off for Dubois. Dubois in front. Gonna knock this one through and sent back to the point for Sandin. Sandin, left point shot by Ovechkin, gets turned away by Knight. And Knight is one of those goaltenders who would not want to be the goalie that allows the record-breaking goal from Ovechkin. On the near side boards, a sharp angle shot gets denied, and moving up is Sandin, who drops it off. Here's Leonard. Leonard waits, tried to fire it, fanned on the shot. And the Blackhawks pick it back up right in front. Leonard looking for his first goal as an NHLer gets turned away by Knight. Good job keeping this when he's wearing the number 9. 4:43 to go. Of course, Ryan Leonard. I don't know to what extent he's a fun guy but he may be a lot of fun to watch on the ice as right now. We'll be back. So that's to answer the questions. 1 to tie, 2 for the record. In this sold-out crowd. And John Carlson, another longtime teammate of Ovechkin. He has the second most assists on Ovechkin goals at 160. Nicholas Backstrom has the most at 279. Evgeny Kuznetsov, 110. Mike Green, 70. Marcus Johansson, 58. Among players who have assisted on Ovechkin goals. And Carlson, who is the number one defenseman on the Capitals throughout the years of the Ovechkin era. In the second half of the Ovechkin era, that is. Won a Stanley Cup in 2018 as a top offensive defenseman. Won by the Capitals on the left point. This bounces up and the Blackhawks recollect and he move it up for the near side. Bedard has Donato. Bedard, curl and drag. He fires this one wide and it's held inside. From the left point off for Donato behind the net. But Bedard tries again. Smoked it up and out of play. It actually was blocked and fired onto the mesh. So Bedard on the top line leading the next generation of Chicago Blackhawks players on a team that also has Oliver Moore, Frank Nazar, Alex Vlasic, Artem Levshinov, Kevin Korchinski. Now you have two players who are on the two sides of the Battle of Michigan. Levshinov with the Michigan State Spartans, Nazar with the Michigan Wolverines. And now they are teammates with one another, so the fact that they're teammates now is a little awkward. Bedard is tossed out the face-off circle, so Donato will come into his place. At the right circle to the left of Lindgren. Bounces up on the draw. This gets tangled up. Sandin, the first to pick it up. And behind the net, this is now Washington scooping this one up. Fired down through the ice. And it bounces off of Levshinov out of play on a clear from Connor McMichael. So McMichael demoted to the fourth line in anticipation of Ryan Leonard's NHL debut. He was the first player in NCAA history to have back-to-back 30-goal seasons since Cam Atkinson. Who knows how many more Washington fans are going to be in attendance. And on for the near corners is Carlson, who directs it on for the far half boards. Bounces up, and then behind the net, the Blackhawks will try to get a chance here. Top shot from Levshinov gets blocked away off of Charlie Lindgren. Carlson will move in front with a Blackhawk in pursuit. Directs traffic on the left for Sandin. Sandin drops it for McMichael. Tries to send one in front, but a whole lot of Blackhawks were right there to deny that chance from going through. McMichael just keeps this one inside. McMichael to the right. Gets deflected away, but held in by Dowd. Dowd blocked off by Bedard. One-timer right circle. And a screen shot is blocked away. Mikheyev directs it behind. The Capitals going for a change. Ovechkin's back on the ice. He has the only Capitals goal. The Gr8 in the vicinity. Levshinov. Rink-wide pass deflected inside so as to negate the icing. Lindgren plays it up and out for the near side. Ovechkin moves this back up and through center towards the right side. Wilson, a block on the way there onto the right corner. Or the right corner being the far corner as this pass goes down low. The Blackhawks were ready for it. And then up for the way, picking this one up is Nazar. Nazar, who enters his zone, drops it out for Vlasic. Vlasic fires, turned away by Lindgren. Rebound scooped up by Farivari, who clears this one out through center. With 2:40 to go in the first period. Ovechkin for Washington, Bertuzzi for Chicago. Those are your goals. And the Blackhawks are out shooting the Capitals 11-9. And on for the middle, this gets scooped up. And on for the near side, Mangiapane, the first one on the rush for the puck. Third line's out there for the Capitals. Chikrin, there's down for the right side. The shot bounces up, it's behind the net. Swept away on the backhand. The Blackhawks will move it up through the near side of the ice. Chikrin bodies off Slaggert and directs it back up front. Chicago picks it back up and they clear. First to the puck is Eller, who brings it back inside. Eller for Mangiapane. This gets deflected away. Eller cannot hold his own as Moore clears it out. Less than 2 minutes to go here in the first period. Chikrin picking this back up and moves around through the crease. Maroon watching. Far side the ice as Washington is moving up. Dubois has to skate on the line, so there's a legal entry Oh my goodness. One of the Blackhawks went awkwardly down and went sliding face first onto the ice as Joe Veleno, wearing the number 90 for Chicago. The former Detroit Red Wing, as he is skating to the bench. Might have caught a high stick. Was it? We have to see what is the ruling here. And John McIsaac makes a call. It's going to be on the rookie, Ryan Leonard, for high sticking. He's not a believer in this call, but we'll check the replay as to what happened as Leonard. He was fighting with Veleno up for the near side the ice. As they were trying to go after the puck, Leonard just whacks Veleno with a stick. Uncalled for. He just leans in with the shoulder. That's not a high stick. The stick was not up. The left arm was up. And Spencer Carberry's irate. Ryan Leonard is not a believer in this, but I believe that if he gets caught up, I thought it was a borderline call. 1:39 to go in this first period. And a 2-minute penalty for high sticking, in which there was a penalty that I thought there was not going to be a penalty. Oh my goodness. That puts Chicago on the power play. They have the 10th best power play in the NHL despite their poor season. Washington have the 7th best penalty kill. Face-off is won by the Caps. It's all behind the net. Bounces up for the near half boards. The Blackhawks keep it inside. Teravainen on for the near corner. Looking to get this one back and does. Tabo wants to move this one back, but several sticks in the way prevent the Blackhawks from taking a chance. Knight will play this one out of his crease. It's a 19-second difference between the power play clock and the game clock. Levchinov wanting to drop this one back, and he does with Tom Wilson on his face. It is Bedard for the near side. Bedard into the zone, near half boards. Seeing it's around to the far side. This bounces up, and the Caps pick this one up. They're taking this inside one-on-one. Tom Wilson moves it through. Wilson around Levchinov gets dispossessed. The Blackhawks trying to keep this in the Chicago zone, but it's sticked away by Bedard. It'll go back for Levchinov. Bedard resets, and Levchinov will lead the way. Another drop pass. This is moved up by Nazar. Nazar moving this one for Bertuzzi, and around to the far half boards for Bedard. Sticked around for Bertuzzi. On the left point, Levchinov will move for Nazar. Nazar for Bertuzzi. Donato leaves this for Bedard, far corner. It bounces up once, and then back for Levchinov. Levchinov sets up Bedard at the top of the left circle. Thinks about dropping it off, but he and Bedard trade places, and a good job by the Capitals to force that one out. Bedard passes this one to himself. Nazar just passes it to a Capital for some reason. And Washington will run out the rest of the clock, or they can beat the buzzer here. A shot at the buzzer. It has turned away by Knight, and that'll end the first period. A little bit of a short-handed scare for the Chicago Blackhawks as the Capitals get the last shot just before the clock expires. It is 1-1 after one. So we'll get you to the first intermission report in just a moment. Alex Ovechkin just 2 goals away from history. He's at 893 career goals, 1 away from tying Gretzky, 2 away from passing Gretzky. So we're going to be on standby for when he ties him and when he passes him. The next game for the Capitals will be at 12:30 Eastern against the Islanders. And I'll be there to cover that one. I'm Alec Nava. Stay tuned for the first intermission report. Welcome to the first intermission report. I am Alec Nava, where the Capitals are tied with the Blackhawks 1-1, and Alex Ovechkin is 2 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. Both teams have fired 10 shots apiece. The Capitals out-hitting the Blackhawks 6-4. Faceoffs 8-6 Blackhawks. Chicago has 21 seconds of carryover power play time. They can still score within that time frame to take the lead. Ryan Leonard has the only penalty just coming off his tenure with the Boston College Eagles. 5-4 the block shots in favor of Washington. They also have the lone takeaway of this game. Giveaways are 6-3 Chicago. The goals come from Ovechkin, assisted by Dylan Strome and John Carlson. Tyler Bertuzzi from Landon Slager and Frank Nazar. Ovechkin go at 3:52 at the first period. Bertuzzi's at 13:55 of the first period as well. So as we move on to around the NHL, the Detroit Red Wings and their fleeting playoff hopes. They're 3 points out of a playoff spot as the standings currently show, up 2-0 on the Carolina Hurricanes by way of Ben Chiarot and Marco Kasper. The goals scored 26 seconds apart at 9:03 and 9:29 of the first period. Chiarot from Alex DeBrincat and Dylan Larkin, Kasper from Elmer Soderblom and Lucas Raymond. Those are the only 2 goals. It's Pyotr Kochetkov in net for the Hurricanes and Cam Talbot for the Red Wings. Between the Minnesota Wild and the New York Islanders, neither team has scored, but it's Philip Gustafsson and Ilya Sorokin in net. As the standings currently show in the NHL through the wild card, Toronto is the first Atlantic Division team to clinch a playoff spot. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers are due up next in clinching playoff spots. The Washington Capitals and Carolina Hurricanes have already clinched. The Capitals have 105 points. Carolina and Toronto each have 96 points, with Carolina having 1 game in hand. Tampa and Florida with 93 and 92. The New Jersey Devils with 87 points as they're fading away after the Jack Hughes injury. Dougie Hamilton and Jonas Siegenthaler are also injured. The Ottawa Senators sitting at 86 points. The Montreal Canadiens at 81 points. Detroit is actually 6 points out of a playoff spot. 4 points out of the third place in the wild card chase, where that's the New York Rangers with 79 points. The Columbus Blue Jackets with 77 points. The Red Wings at 75 points. The New York Islanders at 74 points. And those teams, they're not out of it. The Pittsburgh Penguins may be all but done in the wild card chase. The Boston Bruins may be looking to maybe staring at the brink of elimination from the playoffs entirely. They've lost 10 games in a row for the first time in a decade. In over a decade. And that was after the mass sell-off. They're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference below the Buffalo Sabres. And they don't have any games in hand with them. In the Western Conference, the main 3 Central Division teams between the Winnipeg Jets, Dallas Stars, and Colorado Avalanche have all clinched a playoff spot. But there is still a pathway in which the Stars can steal the Central Division from the Jets. It seems likely that Colorado is not going to win the Central Division. In all likelihood, they'll have to settle for either the number 2 or the number 3. The St. Louis Blues are closing in on a playoff spot. The first team to clinch with the Pacific is the Vegas Golden Knights. The Edmonton Oilers will see a setback as Leon Draisaitl will be out for at least 1 week of the regular season, but he'll be back before the playoffs, says Chris Knobloch. The Los Angeles Kings hold the second spot in the Pacific Division. It might be another Los Angeles-Edmonton first-round matchup unless the Kings or Oilers steal the Pacific Division from the Golden Knights, with the first team in the Pacific to clinch a playoff spot. The St. Louis Blues have won 11 games in a row. They are the hottest team in the NHL, and the Minnesota Wild are seeing their playoff chances potentially in danger. The Calgary Flames are just 5 points behind the Wild of a playoff spot. Don't look now, but there is the possibility that Calgary can steal the last wild card spot from Minnesota. Kirill Kaprizov had a hot start to the season, but the year has been marked by injuries, looking to be another lost year for the Wild, sadly, in all likelihood. The Anaheim Ducks are the most recent team to be eliminated from the chase. No Eastern Conference teams have been eliminated yet. So as we go on to how Alex Ovechkin is dangerous from his office. Once in the right circle, the Capitals call it shooter back. Left circle, they call it board side O, as in board side Ovechkin. They discuss the few face-off plays they run for Ovechkin. Numerous goals that come from those exact play designs. They have been so successful that every other team in the NHL has their own version, albeit without Ovechkin to finish again. For example, Mika Zibanejad for the Rangers, Steven Stamkos between the Lightning and the Predators, being some of the more notable examples on the left circle. Ovechkin's legacy about goal scoring, closing in on the goal scoring record. He became synonymous with face-off goals because of the play designs and his ability to get a shot off wherever the puck is flat or even wobbly. This is the Capitals' ability to supply of a certain archetype of teammate that's helped foster continuity and make adjustments as he approaches the record. He scored his first career NHL goal on October 5th, 2005. That was before leading Rookie of the Year contender Macklin Celebrini was even born. He was born on June 13th, 2006. Ovechkin can score from anywhere on the ice, but the face-off circle is where he has done a lot of his damage. 210 of them since 2008, per Money Puck. To his office at the top of the left circle. 180 of them have come from the net front. Multiple coaches and players from across the NHL agreed that his pursuit of Gretzky's record is a testament to consistency, not just for Ovechkin, but the Capitals, who are still placing their franchise's all-time greatest player in a position to succeed. Through nearly 2 decades, through a career that started in the dead puck era and continues with the net front now as in vogue, nobody's found a way to consistently prevent Ovechkin from scoring from the face-off circle, although everyone in the building knows where he's going to set it up. As those around the NHL call it, there are many decisions that opponents must make, and moving parts that should be taken of note. It will lead to Ovechkin and the Capitals finding their bread and butter. What exactly makes Earthside O so hard to stop is that the assistant coach explains using a series of video clips. The first starts with Dylan Strome, a left-handed center, winning the faceoff. When the draw is done, Ovechkin is already within 5 inches of the puck. The coach said Ovechkin not only gets off the line quickly, but is usually moving before his opponent. That allows him to create separation, and it's a recipe that he has perfected over his 20-year career. But it's not just that early separation. Coach points out how the puck is wobbling and difficult to control, and Ovechkin fires on that without needing even half a second to get off a perfect shot. The assistant shows more clips of board side O before switching to footage of what makes Shooterback equally successful on the other side of the ice. With the faceoff on the right side, Ovechkin is on the inside part of the ice. So it's a left-handed center pulling the puck towards him, and he instantly fires a shot with another rolling, wobbly puck that beats the goalie. Steven Stamkos, tied for 22nd all-time with 577 goals, said there are numerous moving parts that must fall into place to score from the faceoff circle. Sure needs playmakers who can distribute, and needs to find space to get to the faceoff circle. At the right place leads to east-west passes, resulting in shots that are hard for the goalie to stop at the right time. He added that the speed to pass dictates where the shooter aims, but the goal is to fire the puck so quickly the goalie doesn't have time to react, unless if you're Carey Price. What Ovi does with the shot prompted the assistant to compare Ovechkin to a baseball player. Many NHL players practice one-timers with the idea that if the puck is out by 6 inches, they won't take that shot. But Ovechkin will take that shot. His production from the face-off circle stirred the debate on what qualifies as a high-danger scoring chance. If it's Ovechkin in the face-off circle, that's as dangerous as it can get of a high-danger chance. And Roman Yossi commented the thing with him is that he doesn't need much space. He just needs to be 1 second late, he's going to score. He said, quote, anyone who watches him knows what this looks like. He's found space in the face-off circle before, dropping to one knee and blasting a one-timer that's usually followed by the celebration. In other words, one knee, zero chance. Barry Trotz has coached Ovechkin for 4 seasons, including winning the Stanley Cup in 2018. He said that the Capitals' power play is designed to create 2 choices for opponents. Focus on Ovechkin and leave everyone else open, or focus on the other 4 skaters with the hopes that none of them get the puck to Ovechkin. That provides a problem. Those playmaking centers are either going to find someone else or they can score themselves. There are also puck-moving defensemen with heavy shots, like John Carlson and Mike Green. And wingers like TJ Oshie, Alexander Semin, and Tom Wilson have different spaces, scoring many goals. And they have scored for so long. And it's so confusing to know which direction they can go to. Ryan McDonough, the Lightning's shutdown defenseman, said there's a reason penalty killers are still trying to figure out Ovechkin. And Andrei Vasilevsky said that Ovi's shot is both powerful and the hardest to track in the NHL. you can compare it to a knuckleball that somehow moves at a high rate of speed. Vasilevsky said that although goalies are trained to stop flat shots at various speeds, the movement and the power that OV generates cannot be replicated because it changes direction at least 3 or 4 times before reaching the net. Even when it's flat, it's hard to stop, Vasilevsky said, quote, but when it's a knuckleball, it's nearly impossible. He's just trying to get in a good position and hope to block it. There's no chance to react against such a shot. And Yossi says also are very difficult for defensemen to block. Injuries to Backstrom and Oshie along with Kuznetsov being traded last spring meant the Capitals were in a transitionary phase. They still reached the playoffs last season as a wildcard entry. They were 18th on the power play and 28th in goals per game, with the worst goal differential among a playoff qualifying team since 1991. But the changes impacted Ovechkin's production, finishing with 31 goals and 65 points, the lowest totals he has recorded in each category for a single season which he has played more than 70 games. This season, the Caps are atop the Eastern Conference standings and lead the NHL 3.58 goals per game, while the power play is 9th, with a 23.7% success rate. So, Strome said that in his first few games, he always looked for Ovechkin no matter where they were on the ice. That's what Strome did when he played alongside Patrick Kane. But what Strome learned was that he now has the freedom to carry the puck into the offensive zone. Then it's about finding Ovechkin in the different spaces. Natural Stat Metrics shows that Strome has played more than 480 minutes in 5-on-5 play with Ovechkin this season. He has had 88 minutes when he hasn't played with Strome at 5-on-5, while they spent more than 142 minutes together on the power play. Both has been with the Caps for 12 years. Playing with Ovechkin is all about how one understands space, that he says. His role for the moment he joined the team was to do whatever he could to either create space for Ovechkin or find Ovechkin in those spaces by constantly forechecking to win the possession. You can help the Great Chase mean even more as they are almost set to get back into action. You can donate $8 or any amount you can give to pediatric cancer research. As you can go to v.org/greatchase. That is v.org/GR8, the GR in capitals, Chase. So as for this, almost set to get ready and get back into actions. We see cancer survivors checking into watch Ovechkin in warm-ups. Wilson did joke together that about Ovechkin is that they provide a lot of body for opponents. Ovechkin's 6'2", for weight between 220 and 238 pounds. Wilson is 6'4", 220 pounds. Carlson and Wilson have seen Ovechkin score hundreds of times, but they both said that this season has been so much more fun to watch. How every area they go to is filled with people who want to see Ovechkin get close to their record. And decided to be on the ice for the record-breaking goal has led to some lobbying by players, which makes Spencer Carberry smile. So Ovechkin did score a hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks to reach 800 career NHL goals. The entire United Center was on their feet to congratulate Ovechkin at that time. He's back onto the benches. Hunter Shepard, the backup goaltender, sitting on the backup goalie bench, the backup goalie seat. He's not going to be on the ice to begin this second period. It's going to be the Duhaime line and the Carlson pairing. So, Chicago, an enticing young team, and they can go on an upwards trajectory depending on how they go with the direction of the youth movement. So, the checking up with John McIsaac on the benches as Anders Sorensen watches onwards. Ryan Leonard is in the penalty box. Washington on the penalty kill for 21 more seconds. We're underway, and the Blackhawks have a few more seconds of power play time left. There's 21 seconds between the power play clock and the game clock. And at the first period, as Washington kills off the rest of their penalty. There's 5 seconds left, though, as Chicago moves up for the near side. And now the penalty is over. As the Capitals get this one out, Leonard's out the box. And over the near half boards, Nazer will wait and then move it up. Delivers onto the right side. Set it up in front. Quick shot. They score! Frank Nazer with a blazer. Just 31 seconds into the middle frame. And it's already 2-1 Chicago. A beautiful pass to free up space for himself. And he collects this puck up through center. And gets a screenshot perfectly timed to where Lindgren does not even see it. It goes top shelf right up over Lindgren above his glove with Nick Dow watching. Dow tries to block it, but was too late in doing so. It's now 2-1 Chicago. So Nazar, former Michigan Wolverine, gets on the board for the Blackhawks to make it a 2-1 lead for Chicago. A stick check as the Capitals are looking to get this one up onto the near corner, gets sent onto the far side of the ice. Chicago gets this one up through, and they free space up. On the far side, Teravainen, and down goes one of the Blackhawks. Crossing through the blue line, it's Bedard who gets checked up. So an offside there as Teravainen could not slow down the momentum. And Bedard, he has to go onto the bench. Chicago has blown the most sweeps in the NHL at 29. Washington has the most comeback wins in the NHL at 23. So that could be a positive for the Capitals throughout the rest of this game. Who knows, though? Bedard to take the face-off for Chicago is won by the Caps. Near side as they look to move it up. On for the far side, bouncing up. This gets deflected up, and Korchinski is the first to it. On the near half boards, Donato. A restart, banks it off at the wall for Teravainen. Teravainen gets dispossessed, and the Caps will move it up onto the far side. Near side, skating free, it is Duhaime. Brandon Duhaime sets up front, and deflected away by Murphy. Bounces up onto the far half boards. Donato chops this one behind. The Blackhawks regroup. Korchinski moves it up. Nazar from Oliver Moore and Pat Maroon officially as it gets set up behind. Near corner, Matt Roy banks this one off the glass and is recollected by Nazar. Nazar, near side. On for Teravainen, delivers it back for Nazar. Here comes the speed from Nazar. Nazar trying to bobble weave through, and Lindgren turned that one away. Puck battle behind the net is scooped up by the Capitals, but still it's loose. Washington gets this one up. A turnover here at the offensive zone. Teravainen walks back in with it. Teravainen could not set up shop in front. And this bounces wide the crease. Held inside by Vlasic. On the point, Teravainen. Right side for Sam Rinzo. Rinzo rink wide for Vlasic. Vlasic shot delivered wide. Rinzo could not hold this one in. It's backhanded out to center. Vlasic cleared this one through onto the inside. Sandin, the first one to chop it back. And Matt Roy will free up space. Up the near side, bouncing up as the Capitals look to set up. Near corner as both teams battle for the loose puck. The Capitals will be on the defending end of this one as Veleno fires this one cross corner. Chick run ties up Nick Foligno. On for the near side, this bounces up and will be recollected by Dylan Strome, the former Chicago Blackhawk. Bounces up for Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk, Ovechkin. Ovechkin waits of it. Ovechkin from the point. Lost the puck, thought about it, and will keep this one inside. Artem Levchinov takes this one away for Chicago. Is fed up for Nick Foligno. Foligno bats this one out of play, and he'll go for a change. Ovechkin goes to the bench as well. Two-1 lead for the Blackhawks, but at even strength, the Blackhawks are minus 67 in goal differential. The Capitals are plus 64. Last and first, respectively, in the NHL this season. The Blackhawks, obviously a rebuilding team. The Capitals, of course, a Stanley Cup contending team. On the dump in, Spencer Knight places this one out onto the near half boards. It's held inside by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Dubois, John Carlson, deep shot onto the left point, gets blocked away. Oliver Moore can't clear this one, and then out in front it comes to Mangiapane, who fires and save. Rebound in front, it's loose. Radish tried to fire it, and it's blocked as well. Warseller on the hold. On for the far half boards, this gets kept inside. Radish gets tied up by Korchinski. Several kicks onto the puck and the skate. Radish keeps a hold of it on the left point as the Capitals look to fire this one through. Faravari throws it down low and gets it back. One tire top of the left circle, bounces up. And out in front, Mangiapane! Knight locates it. and covers it up with his glove. Several outstanding stops by Spencer Knight. And Knight is on his groove tonight. 1, 2, 3 have a frantic chance in front. Mangiapane, Radish, the two right in front. And Lars Eller wanted to clean stuff up out of the front of the net. With the puck onto it. John Carlson firing the one-timer that was kicked up by Knight. And Radish wanted to bank in the rebound. Couldn't do so on the swat. It's the type of goaltending they need from solid goaltenders. And Knight is a solid goaltender. Dubois wants to face off with some help. Carlson lost this one up over the head of everyone. And his play to Protas. Couldn't handle this one. And then it gets knocked out to center. The Capitals stick check this one back with them. On the near side, it is Carlson. Carlson leads the way up. It gets by Vlasic. Spencer Knight out to play this one to Bedard. Connor Bedard up through the middle. Bedard waits and then gets forced wide by Leonard. Bedard dispossessed by Ryan Leonard, and they move back with this puck. On the far half boards, this gets knocked away off a stick check. Whacked up and then bounced down. Moving up through the middle, it is Mikheyev. Mikheyev on the near half boards, fires this one around the swing. Then back around, Mikheyev tries to get this one for Chicago on the offensive chance, couldn't do so. Leonard, end of his shift, gets decked by Kaiser, and Kaiser fired this one down, and then set up shot for Teravainen. Teravainen on the right side, tried to control on his backhand, out in front, and Bertuzzi couldn't fire this one home. Levchinov holds his own for Kaiser, and then back for Levchinov. Levchinov, a Michigan State product, shot gets blocked off a stick, and then gets redirected onto Alexei Protas. Leonard, once again end of his shift, dumps this one down, and Knight will restart it for Chicago. Wyatt Kaiser on the far side. We're on the 6-minute mark, nearing the 6-minute mark of this period, and Tom Wilson brings this back in for the Caps. Trailer, one-timer, gets fired wide. Rebounds be collected by Teravainen, and it'll be set back for Kaiser. Chopped it up onto the right side for Levchinov. Levchinov skates a bit on the right side. On the boards for Ovechkin, it's set back for Chychrun, and then swatted up front. 14:10 to go here in the second period. Dropped it off. Here's Wilson. Advances for Dubois. Dubois. Ovechkin's tied up. Wilson fires. Knight was there. And the Blackhawks pick it up. Good defense that time around. Here is Chychrun, who moves it up through the middle for Strome. And then back for Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun waits and then sends this one up. Bouncing and collected up by Korchinski. On the far corner is Murphy, who goes down, but is held inside by Dowd. Dowd tangled up, and Duhaime helps out the Capitals. Feravari fires, bounces up off of Knight. On the far corner, this is the Capitals with this puck. Recollect onto the top of the left circle. Here's Dowd who fires. That was up high. And another one-timer. Dowd misses it entirely. Held inside by Washington one more time is Dowd. He'll look again. Another shot is blocked. Here's Feravari. A fourth shot. The slapper fired wide again. And the Capitals will have to restart from their own zone, as this is offside. Feravari sends it up for the middle. And then moving for the near side, it is McMichael. McMichael is fended off by Spencer Knight. And McMichael sends it back all the way to the point. Connor McMichael. Nice move. Walks inside. Puck close and they score! It was behind Knight. And it's tapped in for the tying goal. Martin Feravari and Brandon Duhaime were at the net front. After 4 shot attempts and blocks, the Capitals find pay dirt. Or the ice equivalent of pay dirt, they find the twine. After the initial shot from McMichael, it squeezes by Spencer Knight, who got almost all of that one. But the loose puck right behind him gets picked up by Feravari and then knocked home for the tying goal. He comes crashing towards the net. Knotted up at 2. Lindgren makes a diving stop, and the Blackhawks strike back. It's 3-2, in an instant thanks to Philip Kurashev. He was just put into the lineup with Lukas Reichel subbing out because he missed a team meeting. And just like that, the Blackhawks are up by a goal. He picks up a juicy rebound that was right in front of him off the initial diving stop by Charlie Lindgren. The initial stop was outstanding, but he went down and could not get back up. Slager's deflection was knocked home by Kurashev. A 3-2 game. The Capitals within one more time and moving up onto the far side as the Capitals look to tie it up one more time. On the top of the left circle, Chicago's all over them. Looking to drop it back is McMichael. McMichael tied up by Kurashev, the guy that was replaces Reichel. Tongue twister here as Van Riemsdyk fires deep, and Spencer Knight knocks it down in front. 1-on-1 back the other side. On the far side, Kurashev waits for help. Kurashev in front, fired wide, and will be collected by the Blackhawks. The Hawks, or rather the Caps, Protas leads away for the far side. Return feed gets knocked away. Chicago moving back up with this. They get stick lifted, and it's picked up by Dubois. Coming back with this is Tom Wilson. Wilson in a chase for the puck. Wilson, watched by Kaiser, and gets knocked away of it by McCabe. Chicago looks to move up for the ice one more time with Levshinov leading the way. Artem Levshinov for Wyatt Kaiser, feeling the pressure from Wilson. Levshinov, far side. The Caps moving up onto the far side on this dump-in. First one to it is Matt Roy. Rasmus Sandin. In the chase is Ryan Donato. Donato kept this one alive as Chicago is all over this puck. Up for the middle, the Capitals moving back with numbers. 3-on-2. A stick check prevents that chance. And a delayed offside. Delayed puck movement up front even further. The Hawks come back with this. 9 minutes gone here in the second period. As Bedard dumps this one down for the far side. Lindgren plays it up far away. They try to go through the cross-quarter side, but can't do so. Now they have it on the near side. Ryan Leonard, a dipsy doodle at center ice, and he takes it up. And this cross-ice pass is knocked off a skate. And they'll have to retreat back to their own zone. Faravari gets watched by Teuvo Teravainen. And is sent up on for the center to John Carlson. On the left side, Nick Dowd gets met. Dowd, several body checks. He floats away from all that. Dowd once more. Ryan Leonard on the right side this time round. Leonard plays inside. At the far corner, the Caps look to set up shop. As is Leonard. Attempted stick check by Levshinov as this bounces up behind Knight's crease. And it's juggled by Knight. It's made its way onto him. And Sapushkin is shoving after the matter of fact with Dowd and Teravainen in the midst of it. It's a little bit tenacious here. 10:06 to go. We'll be right back in a moment. 9 minutes and 54 seconds gone here in the second period. Ovechkin chasing history. 1 away from tying Gretzky, 2 away from breaking the record. He has some handshakes with Devontae Smith-Pelly, Braden Holtby, Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, and Brooks Orpik, all in attendance. Former teammates and great friends now. He scored a goal, banking it off the post. And then right off the back of Spencer Knight as well. So luck has come the Capitals' way. Ovi trying to secure the goal-scoring record. He has scored tonight. Next game is against the Islanders this Saturday. Be covering that game if Ovechkin does not break the record tonight. On the far side, Chicago with the puck off the faceoff and on for Vlasic. Vlasic moves it up. This bounces up and collected by John Carlson. Carlson turns around and twists on the left circle. The Blackhawks are all tied up and the Caps move back with this. On for the other way. Right circle as it's dropped from Protas and it bounces up several times. It comes out in front, looses in front, and is turned away off the Blackhawks defense with Knight trying to locate the puck. And Chicago clears this one down. Chaotic at the front of the net as Carlson restarts. Up the middle, it bounces up. Vlasic shutting this one down, bouncing around, and move back. Icing is the call with 9:21. A chaotic sequence at the front of the net. Which could have been a tying goal for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Ovechkin is back onto the ice. Alexei Protas also in the vicinity as Dubois set up Connor McMichael for Sam Rinzel to block the pass off on time. Alex Vlasic, one of the better defensive defensemen on the Blackhawks roster. Several stick lifts by McMichael to try to keep us alive. On the far corner, it's held inside by Washington and down for the left point. Coming from that spot is Rasmus Sandin. Was looking at Ovechkin's direction. Van Riemsdyk fires, is kicked up by Knight. Easy save there as Veleno gets tied up. And it gets knocked away. Ovechkin keeping this one inside from the near corner. Knocked back over to Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk fires and is kicked out by Knight. Tom Wilson on the hold. Rinzel shoved them away. Loose puck is held in by Chychrun. Ovechkin, he'll look at the far corner. Back for Chychrun. Chychrun waits and then delivers to Ovechkin. Ovechkin in front for Van Riemsdyk. Can't deliver it there. Ryan Donato blocked that one up as Chychrun gets tied up, and here comes a break here for Ryan Donato. Donato with Van Riemsdyk hustling back. Great defense. And it gets to Charlie Lindgren. Will play this one dangerously to the near corner. Chicago keeps this one inside. At the far corner, it's Moore. The first one to the puck. On the far half, Boris bounces up, and the Caps recollect. Cross-ice pass gets blocked. Intended for Strome as Foligno leads it back inside. Moore. Spinorama pass over to Maroon as this gets fired around to the right point. Murphy for Korchinski, rink wide, and this gets flipped up over to Murphy again. Murphy fires, it's loose. And out in front, this is a dogfight for the puck. Held inside all around. Korchinski fires again. Another try. Good block off of Oliver Moore. Moore once again to a shot. And Lindgren holds on with 7:39 to go. A lot of Capitals being dead tired. They needed that whistle, including Tom Wilson and Jacob Chychrun. We'll be right back here from Capital One Arena. Chicago leads 3-2. Mueller, assistant coach with the Washington Capitals in his second season with them, in charge of running this power play. So far, things have ran smoothly here in D.C. for Mueller. Previously a head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, assistant with the Montreal Canadiens. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Boston Celtics are the new 3-point kings. The 2025 Celtics with 1,364 3-point makes this season. That is the new record. Breaking the record set by the 2023 Golden State Warriors of 1,363. Gr8 Chicago here with 7:39 to go. A lot of time left for Ovechkin to score a hat-trick here as Roy chips it away from Bertuzzi. On for the far corner, Ryan Leonard, or near corner rather, bounces up on for Nick Dowd as Leonard gets tied up. And as several stick lifts it away, the Hawks get this deep. And Leonard goes down onto the far corner, and a scrum breaks out. And the Capitals would take exception to the fact that a trip was on the rookie. Wyatt Kaiser getting jostled onto the ice, and we have several fights breaking out here. Martin Fehervary also as well. Leonard wants to go as well. Going for another rookie, Artem Levshinov. Levshinov has the gloves off, and John McIsaac is separating the two of them. Leonard did not take off his gloves. Another cooling off. And there's going to be a penalty called here. I believe the first one's on the Blackhawks. Might be Nazer, but how many penalties are going to be assessed here is the question. And Matt Roy is definitely irate as Frank Nazer caught the skate of Matt Roy. I thought it was Leonard at first, and Nick Dow was shoving Nazer. Everyone howled. And from there on out, it's chaos from there. Kaiser getting into a dogfight. So the initial penalty is on Nazer, but we don't know to what extent the amount of penalties are going to be assessed. You know, Roy got tripped. He did have their helmets put on. It turns out the slashing penalty on Nazer is going to be the only one assessed. And it's going to be the first Capitals power play of this game. So Nazer gets the only penalty out of this conundrum. It was chaos from here on out. Watch for the number 8 on the ice. A power play goal here for Ovechkin will tie it himself with Gretzky. Nazer watches onwards and thinks to himself as everyone stands up and is prepared to take out their phones in anticipation of a goal that could tie Wayne Gretzky. Fans on their feet here for Ovi. They are waiting at number 894. He needs 2 goals to pass him, 1 to tie him. And a tying goal can come in this power play. Off this face-off win, the Capitals get tangled up, but it's controlled on the near corner by Wilson. Wilson. The attackers are focusing on the other 4 skaters and not on Ovechkin. Here's Carlson. There's a man on Ovechkin. As Carlson blasts one, and it gets knocked away. Dylan Strome. This bounces off several times. Strome trying to take this one back for the Caps. And over the right point, held inside by Carlson. Carlson waits, keeps a hold of it, and up for Chychrun. Ovechkin goes to the point, and now here's Chychrun. 2 defensemen on the top power play unit. Now back for Chychrun. He gets it back. Chychrun. Capitals have 1:15 of power play time as the Blackhawks clear this one down for the ice. Scoped up by Lindgren. Chicago's penalty kill ranked 9th, surprisingly. But they've improved defensively this season. This drop back for Dylan Strome. Over the near side, Wilson takes a hold of it. And then for the right corner. This gets knocked away. It'll be Ovechkin picking this one up. And he'll set up shop. Holding onto it. Moving up front for Wilson. Wilson. Moving up. But there is nothing there. Not a lot of room. Fired back by Nazer. Not Nazer, but he's waiting over at the penalty box. Ovechkin staying out there, conserving his energy. Moving up for the ice is Dubois. Ovechkin staying out there, being double shifted on the power play. Here he is on the left circle, fires it! And that one wide. Still out there. And on for the right circle, McMichael. And Chicago tried to clear, is just held in by the Caps. Ovechkin sends this one off. And on for the right side. McMichael is tied up. The Blackhawks pick it up. And Ovechkin will likely go to the bench. Rasmus Sandin will retreat back and retrieve. Power play is going to be over. What a nice spinorama by Sandin. It's fed up for the middle. And over the left circle. Quick shot. That one wide of the goal. And now back the other way. It's a 2-on-2 with Bedard leading. Bedard, one-timer right side. Off the side, the post. Bedard keeps this inside Vlasic. Moves it around through the boards and on for the far corner where it's held in. Up until a chip away by Matt Roy. And an error pass that takes a bounce off a skate. Dubois leads it out. Now on the near side, Roy shoved towards the near half wall. It was 1-1 after one period. It's 3-2 Chicago. Near corner as both teams chop away at the puck. Bounces on for the right side. Dowd held inside by Roy. And a deep shot from Feravari gets knocked away. Ovechkin and Feravari have the only 2 goals for Washington. Chicago scored 3 times. Bounces up and around onto the far side. And fired out by Spencer Knight off the dump in. The Caps keep this one in thanks to Dowd. Radish trying to hold it. Dowd looking to find Brandon Duhaime. Dowd chopping away at this puck several times. Bounces up. And Chicago will send this one down for the ice as Donato slips and falls. Moving up for the near half boards. Dowd sends it up for the ice for Radish. Radish is tied up. Radish still looking after this one as Bertuzzi flips this one away. A stick lift. And a collision right in front of the ringside area. On the far side between the benches. Bertuzzi knocks this one through. And Lindgren will play this one out at the trapezoid as the Caps are looking for passing options. They find one at the near side for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk waits and they move it up. Bounces up. And all sorts of traffic in front. The first one being Levshinov. The Caps take it back up and will start for their own zone. Moving up for the near side, the ice. As it bounces up and the first one back is Levshinov. Levshinov with Ovechkin once again back onto the ice. Then a pass in front. Ovechkin tried to backhand one. Couldn't get the one through. Ryan Leonard there. Was at the net front. And the Capitals will dump this one in on the laid-off side for change. Chicago does make changes of their own as well. As one of the Capitals blows a tire. And now for the far side, it's recollected by Sandin and sent out to the far corner. Pat Maroon riding his man onto the wall. That's Feravari. Sandin tried to poke it free. Sandin gets this one back. But it's back with Chicago. Bounces up in front. Off the block. But cannot be fired home. Once again, Maroon is tied up. Behind Lindgren. Sandin sees this one come in front of Lindgren. And it's scooped up by Wilson. Tic-tac-toe. Here they come with numbers. On for the far corners to set her up in front. It bounced up wide. Maroon will control it. Drags it on for Foligno. Foligno on for the near corner on the outside. Chops one up along the boards. This gets fired down low. Foligno. Off the knockaway by Lindgren 2 minutes ago. 3-2 Chicago. On the far boards, Sandin with a hold of the puck. Moves it over around for the near side of the ice. Vlasic on the hold in. Near corner. Moves it over to the opposite boards for Rinzo. Rinzo on the far boards. Deflected. Has that one deflected away. Kurashev keeps this one in. The guy who scored the last goal. And it's fired back for Rinzo. And knocked around, back and around. Great defensive work by the Capitals on not having the Blackhawks get a shot off. For the far side, bouncing up and then collected onto the far half boards. As the Blackhawks looking to defend once more, it is Knight playing this one over to the near half boards. Held in by Radish. And over the left point, accelerating in is Sandin, I think. It'll be collected by Washington. A jump onto the puck with 1:03 with the Hawks clearing. Rush for the puck. Blasted inside by Feravari. It'll be collected at the near corner by Radish. Radish. And then back behind the net. The Capitals trying to get the tying goal one more time. From the right point, deflected up. And that went off the shoulder of Lindgren. And from the far corner, the Caps once again looking for the tie. Spinorama. Faravari blasts one. And that's gloved down by Knight with 39.6. Faravari still has a blazing ripper from the deep point. And so Chicago leading up front. We'll be back for the final 39.6 of the second period. Troy Brouwer has played 5 different teams throughout his NHL career. He was on the Capitals from 2011 to 2015 and one of Ovechkin's teammates. He has also played on the Chicago Blackhawks for several seasons. He's known for his toughness and his grit and sandpaper. The hard-nosed forward. It's a big part of the Capitals organization. 39.6 seconds left in the second period with the Blackhawks leading. Off the faceoff, Ovechkin brings himself up, fires wide! Almost had the goal that tied himself with Gretzky. Carlson kept this one inside. Strome freed up space. Ovechkin lost it. He got tied up and lost the puck again. Chicago gets this one over to the far side of the ice in the Washington zone as Chikrin bats this one around. Set up in front for Strome. Strome moves it up for the near side of the ice. Protas moving this one through onto the far corner. This bounces up and centered up front. Carlson. Ovechkin tried to get this one up. Bounces up into the near half boards with the Blackhawks running out the rest of the clock here in the second period. After 2, Ovechkin remains 2 goals away from tying Gretzky. 2 goals away from passing Gretzky, 1 away from tying him. The Blackhawks lead 3-2. The Capitals need 1 to tie in the third period. But Ovi was so close to tying Gretzky, but just missed the mark. Had a small opening at the top of the left corner, but there was another opening at the top of the right corner. So when we come back, it'll be a second intermission report right here. And I'm Alec Nava. So stay tuned, everyone. And 3 goals in the second period, tilted by the Blackhawks as they have taken a surprising lead over the first place in the Eastern Conference, Washington Capitals. Oliver Moore gets his first career assist in the NHL on a Frank Nazar goal 31 seconds in. I am Alec Nava. Nazar from Moore and Maroon 31 seconds into the second period. It was Ovechkin from Strome and John Carlson, 3:52 first period. Tyler Bertuzzi from Landon Slager and Frank Nazar, 13:55 of the first period. Nazar from Moore and Maroon. Martin Fehérváry from Connor McMichael and John Carlson at the 7:09 mark of the second period. Philip Kurashev answered back 10 seconds later from Slager and Moore. Well, Moore has himself a 2-assist outing. So through 40, 19-17 on the shot boards in favor of Washington. Hits are 11-9 Washington. Faceoffs are 17-9 Washington. Each team has had a power play each, but neither team score on the man advantage. But Chicago scored shortly after their power play. Block shots are 13-6 Chicago, takeaway 6-1 Washington, and giveaways 10-6 Chicago. So around through the NHL, throughout the scoreboards, we have the Detroit Red Wings leading the Carolina Hurricanes 4-2 after 2. And the goals from Ben Sherratt, from Alex Ovechkin and Dylan Larkin, Marco Kasper from Elmer Soderblom and Lucas Raymond. Those were in the first period, 26 seconds apart. In the second period, Jackson Blake from Seth Jarvis at the 1:57 mark of the second period. Patrick Kane unassisted at 9:05. Michael Rasmussen from Tyler Mott just 21 seconds after the Kane goal. And Eric Robinson got the Canes within 2 from as Jacob Slavin, he knocked the secondary assist. First career point for Justin Robida, related to Stefan Robida. It's 4-2 Detroit, however. As Fyodor Kochetkov, 10 of 14. Cam Talbot, 21 of 23. And the Islanders and Wild have some goal scoring. It's been the goaltenders that have stolen the show for most of this game. Matt Zuccarello, who wore a specialized number 40 Sam Rosen Wild jersey against the Rangers in warm-ups. This is Sam Rosen's farewell season. Zuccarello from Marcus Johansson. It was answered back by Casey Cizikas from Noah Dobson and Pierre Engvall. Simon Holmstrom from Maxim Siplikov and Ryan Polak. Those were in the opening 5 minutes of the second period. Now, Anthony Duclair was humiliated by Patrick Roy. It was announced because 2 days after Roy told reporters that Duclair was god-awful and lucky to be in the lineup. And that moment it's likely affected Duclair's mental health, so he's taking a leave of absence to focus on that mental health. So Roy said this morning, Anthony and I had a very good conversation, a very positive one, and Anthony asked me to take some time off and reflect. So I obviously agreed to that, and we'll give him all the time that he needs. But he was signed to a 4-year, $14 million deal. He has 11 points of a career worst -15 rating, and the contract includes a full no-trade clause through 2026. The Islanders are without a win in their last 6 games, struggling down the stretch while chasing the final wildcard spot in the East, joining the Montreal Canadiens by 5 points with 8 games to play. And with Duclair, we want to note that mental health is not a joke. You can wonder how that's going to affect him. And while he hasn't been playing his best hockey, they had high hopes for him at the start of the season. It's the biggest offseason signing for the Isles, bringing him on a 4-year deal. The hope was that he would be the top 6 winger the Islanders needed to boost his scoring. He started well enough, but a devastating injury hit him, leaving him off the line for a good chunk of the season. When he returned, he wasn't the same guy everyone saw at the start of the year. His speed, which was his biggest weapon, was gone. He struggled to use it to generate dangerous scoring opportunities. It seemed like his confidence has been zapped. The mental game wasn't there. The scoring evaporated. Hit the shelf again briefly and then was dismal. But this was rock bottom. His production in the 2025 calendar year that produced frustration, particularly Patrick Roy. His 5 points in this calendar year, plus what Roy called a lack of effort on Duclair's part, prompted the Iowa coach to drop the hammer. With the situation in mind about this, the short answer to the previous question is that they have to trade him this summer, and it's evident the rip between Duclair and the Islanders has gone to a point where Duclair needs a fresh start. And as it stands, the Islanders will be lucky to get anything in return for Duclair. Doesn't really matter what the Islanders send him. The club owes it to him to give him a chance to turn over a leaf, whatever that may be. The broader situation refers to the way that Waugh handled the situation. And while he did call it a veteran, he was in the right to call it a veteran player, but he crossed the line in doing. But how he handled it crossed the line. The use of god-awful and lucky to be in the lineup is something that not every athlete is going to take. Those comments clearly shattered him, leaving him at the crossroads. The only way that Duclair regains his confidence in Long Island is if Waugh gets the heave-ho. And by the looks of things, that doesn't seem likely. The fall from the situation, let us see the fall of this situation from what it happens. To go over to up north with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're in a familiar position at the beginning of April. For the 9th straight year, they'll be playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The team and their fans hope that this is where familiarity ends. Can playoff disappointments of past years be a thing of the past? If they win the Atlantic Division, they'll likely play the Ottawa Senators in the first round. The Sens are good, but they're not on the same level as the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Florida Panthers, and the Leafs would be the favorite. But the challenges on offense and in goal, on what it shows. Under previous coach Sheldon Keefe, the Leafs were one of the league's best regular season teams. Keefe identified why the Leafs failed in the playoffs, but was unable to convince the top players to buy into changing. After taking over this offseason, has Craig Berube fundamentally changed how the Leafs play? To the eye, the play style features more forechecking, cycle play, and net front focus than the off-the-rush skill and speed that used to be a hallmark of the team. The Leafs previously struggled to score in the playoffs because the offensive play style was not conducive to the type of goal scored in the playoffs. The fancy passing and highlight reel goals are few and far between in the playoffs. It's about getting inside, creating traffic at the net front, and in hockey terms, getting the greasy and garbage goals. The differences between Keefe's and Berube's systems are stark. The Leafs are not controlling the play the way they did under Keefe, and they're playing in more low-scoring games. In Keefe's final season, the Leafs games averaged 6.81 goals for both teams, compared to 6.19 under Berube. Last season, Toronto ranked second in goals per game and second in scoring chances per game. They currently rank 9th in goals per game while ranking 22nd in scoring chances. Because Berube has the Leafs playing a more direct style of offense, focusing on forechecking, puck pursuit, and puck recovery, functioning as a dump and chase style play, a significant departure from Keefe's possession style. Toronto ranked at top 10 in possession time under Keefe, 20th under Berube. Most notable is the change in how Toronto is scoring their goals. The rush chances have dropped dramatically, from 2nd to 15th. The interesting exception is that Toronto is one of 4 teams with more than 90 breakaways, and Nylander unsurprisingly leads the NHL with 18 goals off the rush. Last season, the Leafs scored 7.7% of their goals directly off a rebound, dead last. Under Berube, they're scoring 10% of their goals off the rebound, according to Staffleets. The defensive side is where the major changes in results have occurred. In Keith's final season, the Leafs has surrendered 3.18 goals per game, for an .893 save percentage for their goaltenders. The Leafs averaged 32.5 shots per game, while surrendering 29.8. Under Berube, they averaged 28.2 shots per game, while surrendering 29.3. The difference is that Toronto is allowing 7% fewer scoring chances per game under Berube because of a conscious commitment to defense. Berube is opposed to the track meet style of play. While Nylander gets his nightly breakaway, the ping-pong rush chances do not occur with the same regularity. Last season, Toronto was plus 2.11 in scoring chances per game, compared to minus .34 this season. The Leafs are playing in tighter games and creating more favorable situations for the goaltenders. And Anthony Stolarz ranks 4th in goals saved above expected per Staffleets. Toronto's the NHL's best winning percentage in one-goal games because they are more comfortable defending in those situations. This is because this is some critical news come playoff time. And this is a defense that's built differently. Berube's system is most successful defensemen who play a physical defensive side. The remodel of the blue lines fit well with Berube's desired style. Jake McCabe, Chris Tanev, Brandon Carlo, Simon Benoit, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, all physical defensemen to a blue line that's led by Morgan Riley. Berube's team in St. Louis featured the likes of Colton Parayko, Jay Bouwmeester, Joe Edmondson, Robert Bortuzzo, and Carl Gunnarsson, and the blue line that is led by Alex Pietrangelo. There are similarities between those defensemen in the Leafs group. Big, physical shot blockers, and all are defensively oriented. The Leafs don't get much of the blue line in the way of offensive production, and it certainly feels like they're more defensively stable. It's no secret that the playoffs are a different game that centers carries toughness rather than skill. Far more physicality is allowed to, and stick infractions go uncalled in the postseason. The Leafs have struggled to draw penalties and have not been very good about dishing out the physicality either. The defensemen the Leafs have acquired have proven track record of ramping up the turbo and have ramping up their physicality in the playoffs, and they'll join them in that physicality. There's a clear vision between Brad Treliving and Craig Berube, and the play style matches the roster, with one exception. The biggest similarity between Berube's teams in St. Louis and Toronto is the lack of production for Riley and Vince Dunn. The lone offensive defenseman in St. Louis didn't thrive until he joined the Seattle Kraken. Riley's decrease in production has been a significant topic of discussion, but he is the blue liner most negatively impacted by Berube's play style. He thrives in an offensive system that relies on activation and rush offense, as Dunn does in Seattle and Riley under Keith. Dunn averaged fewer than 18 minutes per game under Berube. He's averaged more than 22 minutes per game in Seattle. His offensive production has nearly doubled from 102 points in 267 games with the Blues to 180 points in 268 games with the Kraken. Compare that to Riley, who's seen his production dip from 202 points in 274 games under Keith to 35 points in 74 games under Berube. Riley's not up to his usual standard. There's evidence that Berube's system suppresses offensive defensemen. Both translate. The one thing that cannot be accounted for is the curse. That is not a statistic that for the playoff curse that seems to haunt the Leafs the way it's haunted the Red Sox and Cubs before they break through. The Leafs have playoff demons. Many observers have wondered whether this course is what it takes to climb the mountain. Berube's style seems to be more conducive to playoff success. However, the recent playoff problem has not been defensive for the Leafs. The scoring has dried up. There's little opportunity for a track meet style in the playoffs of how closely teams check in the way games are officiated. The team's change in style of play under Berube has made Toronto more prepared for playoff hockey. Strong defensive play and offense driven by a tough forecheck that wears teams down is more translatable. That style makes teams uncomfortable because it's more grueling. Players handle the puck differently if they think someone's going to pressure and physically engage them along the boards. If they're going to have success in the playoffs, they need the goaltending to be good, they must continue to play well defensively, and their best offensive players must create more scoring chances in dangerous areas of the ice. They built habits of forechecking, puck pursuit, and commitment to defense over the course of the season. It's a matter of executing on those principles, stopping up pucks, making the extra effort to clear the puck in a tough situation, winning the extra net front battle to score the ugly goals, finishing the forecheck to wear down the opponent. There is no track meet in the playoffs, and odd man rushes will be few and far in between. All the habits that have been ingrained in the playoffs are there since Berube took over. It's up to the players to prove they can get the job done in the games that matter the most. So, with this in mind, we have trivia here. Well, it was too fast for me to deliver, but as both teams are back onto the ice to prepare for the final stanza of regulation. Ovechkin's goal assisted by Dylan Strome and John Carlson. The third period set to start soon, and Ovechkin onto the ice. Will the record be delivered tonight? We have yet to find out. He can tie Gretzky, and he's out there onto the ice to begin this third period against the Bertuzzi line. Opening faceoff is done and over with. Let's get going with this third period. Washington is going to start up with this puck until it's taken back by Chicago. The Blackhawks are 3-6 when leading after the second period this season, which is not a record they want to have. This gets batted up and the Blackhawks send it deep. Bouncing up as Tom Wilson blows a tire and the Blackhawks will move up with shifty moves, and this one fired wide. Rinzel from the right point delivers across ice to Vlasic. On the left side of the circle, the one-timer mishandled, and Rinzel fires a shot that was blocked off a foot. Washington 7-14 and 6 when trailing after 2. Bouncing up as Van Riemsdyk collects the puck. It comes out in front. One-timer left circle, and Lindgren holds up on a one-timer by Nazer. At the first goal at the second period, he won another one just 51 seconds into the third period. And already, these two teams can make plays. We know that they can and create all throughout. As breakout leading to a quality chance up front as Nazer fires the one-timer from the left circle off the feed. 47 games played. He already has 8 goals on the season. Lindgren see it onto his right. His face-off at the left circle. 23 comeback wins for the Capitals this season, the most in the NHL. Carlson off the face-off win with Nick Dowd collecting up. Brandon Duhaime leads this back up. Dowd in pursuit. He collects it behind the net away from Korchinski. Tie up at the back of the net with Leonard trying to move this one through. And over the far half boards, this gets moved up as Chicago tries to recollect. And over the near half boards, this gets fired around. And the Caps will look to get this one up. Behind the net, Sandin. This pass a little too far for Dowd. And Chicago move it up once again. On the near side, Levchinov. Bouncing puck as Lindgren chops it behind for Feravari. Feravari up for Dubois. Dubois up for the near half boards and down for the far half boards. Both teams battle for this as it's Washington emerging with it. Protas. Bouncer. It'll be intercepted, but will be taken back up by Feravari. Good keep. And McMichael is right behind the net. Sent up back for Feravari. Deep shot. Bounces up off the post. Wow. That was that close to tying this one up as Oliver Moore absorbs the contact from Feravari. And up for the far corner. This gets delivered up. Dubois will carry this one up for the middle. Dubois out for Feravari. One-timer kicked out from Protas by Knight. It's held inside from the left point by Van Riemsdyk. And then back behind the net as Knight closes off McMichael. McMichael still on his knees. Rinzo picks it up. 2.5 minutes gone here in this third period. Chicago leading 3-2. But they have not been that good after leading their 2 periods. Centered up front. And this will be a toe drag around through the boards. Bounces up off Eller and cleared out. It'll be set up by Rinzo and then across for Vlasic. Veleno moves it back up onto the far half boards. Maroon tried to make a toe drag and it gets chopped up and Washington takes it back up. Right point sent up for Eller. Lars Eller gets chopped up and up for the right point. Van Riemsdyk gets tripped up by Patrick Maroon as Chychrun sets up one-timer. Gobbled up by Knight. Washington will get on the power play off the Maroon trip on Trevor Van Riemsdyk. John McIsaac with the call. Leg on leg trip by Maroon as fans were irate. It was clear the trip. He was in pursuit of the puck. Got some separation by just a tad smidge. But that is the correct call all throughout. Here he is, back onto the ice. 93 career goals, second all time. Just one behind Gretzky. Needs one to tie, 2 to pass. Lindgren out off the initial dump all the way as John Carlson takes it back up. Power play missed out the previous chance, but they have another her life here. On the right side, Wilson will set her up for Strome. Strome stopped by Knight. It's held inside by Ovechkin. On the far corner, Strome bounces up and it's recollected by the Caps. They free up space for the Gr8. Strome will shoot himself. Bounces up. Ovechkin scores! Was it Strome or was it Ovechkin? We'll have to wait and see here for the official markings as Jacob Chychrun was at the net front trying to clean this one up. Oh, this was an own goal. Chychrun will get credit for this one going off of Connor Murphy. Murphy just put it into his own net. Everyone thought it was going to be Ovechkin and with the tying goal, but it bounced off of Chychrun who will get credit for this. It is Murphy with an own goal. Murphy has scored an own goal, and that ties the game up at 3. Can you believe it? So Washington has power play goals in 4 straight games after he hit a skid. But as Murphy put the puck into his own net, this has tied the game up. And now Protas loses an edge, and this gets sent down for the ice. It will be not enough for an icing as Levchinov was right in front. Puck gets loose. Then out in front. Protas still loose in front. Bounces up as recollected by the Hawks. And on for the trigger as his foot race is through, and an icing with Fehervary ahead. There is an issue with Alexei Protas and his leg. He is skating off of his own power, but is helped off by Carlson and Duhaime. He's going to be checked by the medical staff, and he is limping off to the locker room. So I have to wait and see for his status. But there was an issue on his leg as he was closing in onto the net front, gets tangled up at the slot, and he gets quipped. And it looked like he just backed up after contact from Frank Nazar. Another foot race, and it'll be a photo finish. They'll let this one go. Tyler Bertuzzi seemed was ahead as they chop away at this puck several times. Washington picks it up. And a stick lift here. Here's Bertuzzi closing. He gets turned away. Charlie Lindgren with the save of the game. The fans love it here with Lindgren filling in the absence of Logan Thompson. How's about that for a save as Strome gets stick lifted? I thought that Bertuzzi was going to score. Lindgren flashed the letter right in front of him. Gets this one up with Bertuzzi right onto the doorstep, keeping this one out. Wow. A point blank stop by Charlie Lindgren, and this keeps this game tied at 3. Another face-off win by the Capitals. Duhaime sends this one up, and up for the far side of the boards, bouncing up for Leonard. Ryan Leonard gets shoved away by Alex Vlasic, and now this is collected up by Fehervary. Fehervary fires his deep. It is Knight with a hole at the puck at the trapezoid. Enough for the near half boards. Bedard coughs the puck up, and Leonard, trying to get his first career NHL goal, gets tangled up, and it'll be another penalty. It's going to be a hold against Bedard. Washington will get another chance. And another chance for Ovi to score the tying goal. For the record, that is. The go-ahead goal in this game. So it'll be Bedard off to the box, the sophomore for the Blackhawks, and the future face of the franchise as Leonard gets slowed up, gets held by Leonard. That's a clear hold. The official saw it. The entire way. A little strap onto his chest, and that's no can do. Chicago can't clear this one. That one off of Ovechkin's stick. It'll be picked up by Carlson. It'll be Dylan Strome to set things up. Almost an errant pass, but just saved by Strome. And he'll spin and move up. Strome fires around for the near boards. He'll be slowed down by Knight, but it's held in by Ovechkin. On for the far corner now. Sent right down for Strome. Carlson on the hold. Wilson on for Carlson. John Carlson sets up in front. Ovechkin trying to free up space onto the top of the left circle. Chicago trying to defend to prevent the goal that ties the record. Chikrin holding at the top of the right circle. Then moves it banking off the boards. Here's Carlson. Carlson draws the attention to himself. And then could not be saved by Washington as Chicago clears this all the way down. Does Spencer Carberry and Kirk Muller double shift Ovechkin here on this shift? He had to find out as this is sent up on the lead onto the near side. Dubois. Here's Ovechkin. One-timer. He scores! He's tied the great one! One more from immortality! It is always the left side that is so dangerous. You talk about freeing up space to deliver one-timers. He does so in style. And one more, and none other than John Carlson with the primary assist as he draws the attention, which frees up the space for Ovi to do his magic. A power play goal, vintage Alex Ovechkin style. And the first one that he salutes is his son. And a high five onto him. And he salutes the crowd as he is tied the great one. History here at Capital One Arena as he cheers as the crowd roars. Goal number 895 in sight. This is 894 in his career. Gretzky set the modern goal-scoring record in 1994. Finished his career with 894 career goals. Ovechkin has now tied him in a salute to the two greatest goal scorers in league history. Every Capitals fan here, every hockey fan here, every man who has watched this sport cheers on. He scored his first goal on October of 2005. Nobody knew how many goals he would score in his NHL career. Nobody imagined that he would break Wayne Gretzky's record in the first place. But as they said, when Steph Curry broke Ray Allen's three-point shooting record, and when LeBron James broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time points record, and when Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds broke the all-time home runs record, when Tom Brady broke the passing yards record, they all said, everyone has said, in sports, there is a common saying, records are meant to be broken. A record that stood the test of time since 1999. A record that's been standing for 26 years. Nobody thought that this record would be broken at all. But now, we're seeing it broken in real time now. Gary Bettman in attendance as all the fans take their seats now. 1 goal to go. And it would likely be the greatest hat trick in NHL history should it happen. Ovi has scored a hat trick before against the Blackhawks. He did that to secure 800 career goals. He just needs one. Just one good look. Just one. Still, it's 13:20 to play here in the third period, so plenty of time to do that as Lindgren backs up and delivers it on for the far side. Bounces up, but the Blackhawks could not get it. The Capitals just picked this up as they were cut away several times at center ice. And from the near side boards, it's dumped in by Brandon Duhaime. This bounces up, and it'll be collected by the Caps. They'll restart again. It is Sandin. Sandin for the near side. Here comes Dubois. Dubois closing. Dubois toe drag. And that one missed the net over the crossbar. Back behind that, McMichael keeps this one alive. Elevated to the second line in the wake of the Protus injury. On the right point, it is John Carlson who had the primary assist on the Ovechkin second goal. Backhander. That went off a leg. Spencer Knight could not grab a hold of it. Here is Jacob Chychrun. Chychrun. Cross point and delivers it off to the right side. Bounces up and this goes behind the crease. Chicago picks it up. There was a hook on the way. Chychrun, no call here as this goes wide at target. It's held inside by Van Riemsdyk. Bounces up. And here's Dubois. Dubois out in front. And that one missed his pass. And this will go all the way as Van Riemsdyk will get the feed from Lindgren. TVR will wait with 8 minutes gone here in this third frame. Andrew Mangiapane's one is out there, the former Calgary Flame. As it's set up, this bounces up with Mangiapane chasing after the puck. Off of the near corner, they stick away at this one. Radish there as he sends this one backwards for Eller. Faravari. And here's John Carlson unloading one. This gets blocked by Ryan Donato and out of play. 2 goals scored here by Ovi. He just needs one more to pass Gretzky. The Great One is in attendance. The crowd salutes him. They were chanting, OV, OV, OV. Previously, one more to go. Should we need overtime, Ovechkin has 11 minutes and 37 seconds plus 5 minutes to deliver the all-time goal-scoring record. And he doesn't care how he does it. Even strength, power play, shorthanded, empty net, penalty shots. Well, he's going to deliver it his way, his style. And he delivers one top shelf for 2 goals on this game. Alex Ovechkin, who is coming out onto the ice. He needs one more, everyone. Standing at 894 career NHL goals. The great chase can end tonight to set a new record, and he can further extend that record with more games played this season. And if he does decide to come back next season, even sweeter for extending that record. If he could be the first player to reaching 900 career NHL goals. Off the faceoff, there's a tie-up that his puck could not get to Ovi. Sandin will feed it for one time for Strome. This gets fired up high, and Carlson could not hold it. He has to retreat back all the way, and then free this one up for space onto the inside. This bounces up, and it gets restarted for the Caps. A spinorama around to Sandin. Banks his one off the backboards for Carlson. Moved up onto the far boards, and controlling the play is Ovechkin, who couldn't handle it. Rinzo will hold it, and fan on the pass as Ovechkin capped the zone. Could not do so for much longer, and here's Bedard. Connor Bedard on for the near side. Bedard fires and is caught by Lindgren, who will hold on to it with 10:56 to go in the third period. If he can get the hat trick here, that would be a sweet time to deliver over the way. He returns to the bench. Still out time. He has won his way to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I would imagine that when Ovechkin and Crosby retire, I would imagine that these two will be first ballot Hall of Famers. They've been that good throughout their playing careers, as one Gretzky record was broken already. That's Sidney Crosby passing Wayne Gretzky for most point per game seasons in NHL history with 20. Ferravari gets tied up. So does Nick Dowd as they're all battling for the puck. Capitals lead 4-3 here. This bounces out for the left circle and it's held inside. Murphy thought about firing a slapper. Instead defers to fire it around through the near boards. Far corner as this is a tie-up. As the Caps are looking to take it away. Can't though. Korchinski finds Murphy. Murphy wants a deflection. Lindgren saw that one. as it's held inside by Chicago, as a chase for the puck will be picked up by the Caps. Backhanded out and could not be scooped up by Leonard. In a chase for the puck, Korchinski wins the battle. Korchinski put towards the boards by the Rook. Electrifying rookie out of Boston College, Ryan Leonard, delivering the tenacity here at Washington, D.C. Frank Nazar gets this backwards, and a lot of his former Boston College teammates made the trip to Boston to watch Ryan Leonard play in his first career NHL game. He has yet to score his first career NHL goal. Nazar trying to split the middle, but gets cut away by Wilson. Here comes Wilson as they're all racing back. Wilson for the middle, 3-on-2. McMichael, tick, tack, shot! And Knight grabs a hold of it. 9:37 to play here in this third period as Connor McMichael wanted to put some more sweetness onto this lead. Ovechkin, just one more goal. He's back on the ice, and he wants to break the record in style. 9:37 to go here in the third period. The Capitals on the verge of history in the making. He entered this game sitting at 892. He now is at 894. As they're all singing along to Don't Stop Believing by Journey. At the left circle, Dylan Strome loses the faceoff as it's picked up by Sam Rinzel. Rinzel tied up at the near half boards, but manages to skate out with his puck. Recollecting his Chikrin, the outer number 6, as this is moved up for the near side boards for Ovi. Bounced up off a stick, and it will be Chicago moving this one up. Fans chanting Ovi here at Capital One Arena. Some of them have their cell phones out because Ovi is on the ice, wanting to see if he can have the record-setting goal. Out in front, this bounces off of Chikrin, and he'll pick it up. Ovi's up ahead with Strome. Over to the outside is Tom Wilson. One of the Blackhawks lost their stick. It appeared to be a slash. We save 5-on-5 as both teams battle for the loose puck right behind the net. Ovi and Wilson both there. Still is loose behind it as Kaiser went down. Ovi picks it up on the far corner. Both he and one of the Blackhawks went down as this gets fired on towards the goal. Fans want a penalty. We save 5-on-5 again. Why Kaiser fires this one home. And Ovechkin makes his way to the bench. Mangiapane trying to check the Blackhawks at the front. Near half boards held inside by Slaggert. And up for the opposite circle, it is Kurashev. Kurashev fires around. Chikrin cuts the pass away. Van Riemsdyk knocks this one out. And Murphy tried to hold it, but here come the Caps with Mangiapane leading. Mangiapane towards the right side. Here's Eller firing. Stopped by Knight. And here's a slowdown as Mangiapane gets driven towards the wall. Behind the net is Korchinski. Korchinski moves it up for the ice as this is bouncing up for Moore. Oliver Moore dumps this one in, and Charlie Lindgren will hold on to the puck with 7:49. Mangiapane and Radish both speaking with Alex Ovechkin. So there was an interview between Wayne Gretzky and one of the Capitals broadcasters. I don't know if I'm going to run into some issues in uploading this, but who knows? But I don't know. I'll try not to. But here we go. As we go on and look forward to the game, as Ovechkin, he is on the bench watching his teammates nowadays. It's an interview with Al Koken and a whip around move by Ryan Leonard as he gets driven behind the net, showing off that fancy footwork that he showed at BC, Boston College. Not British Columbia, that is. Backhand pass all the way to the right point as this gets chopped up. And now around for Leonard, who tries a backhand pass. And then up and over goes one of the Blackhawks. A big hit. And then a backhand pass over to Dowd. Dowd gets sticked away. Dowd will keep a hold of it at the left circle. Dowd will send it off rink wide to the guy that he was coming on to. And then out in front, this gets deflected wide of the crease. 6:44 to play. And we have another clock issue here at Capital One Arena. The clock is stuck at 6:44. We're not sure how much time is on the clock as Nick Foligno dumps this in. This is the second clock issue that we've had in this game. The other one being the opening faceoff. As the Capitals are back onto the attack. Wilson for McMichael. McMichael offside on the entry. And once again, the clock starts back up, showing 6:17. Ovechkin on the bench. This is Washington's 50th season in franchise history. They ended their 43rd in franchise history with a Stanley Cup. And they end their 50th season with a Stanley Cup. So 6:17 to go as Ovechkin still is on the bench. Dubois gets helped out by McMichael on the faceoff, and the Caps dump this one in. Fans staying here all throughout to see if Ovechkin can break the goal scoring record. And how he breaks it is not what matters. When he breaks it is what matters. This bounces up, collected by Dubois. Waits out, but wait out for far too long to shoot that. Faravari keeps this one alive, is held in by Roy. McMichael wanted to deflect this one away, a stick lift. And then here's Dubois. McMichael had it bounced off of him. And Foligno tried to stick this one away from the Capitals. Was it a success? Yes, it was. As Foligno gets this one out. And it bounces on through center ice as Maroon gets tied up. While the Capitals lost their stick, they quickly pick it back up. Chicago trying to tie the game here, trying to spoil the party. Korchinski's shot gets blocked in front. It bounces down for the far corner. The Blackhawks once again trying to spoil the party. Fed onto the right point for Korchinski. Now on for Nazer. Frank Nazer delivers one on for the right circle for Murphy, who is down low baseline. Murphy spins around onto the left circle. Murphy fires this one. It gets blocked in front. Rebound is loose, and it gets smoked entirely. Teravainen tried to hold on the far corner. We're in the final 5 minutes. Matt Roy with Nazer on his tail. Nazer tried to tangle him up. Roy keeps a hold of it. Here is that man again, the Gr8. Can he score? The record-breaking goal, that is. Dylan Strome. This bounces up. It's in his zone. Here's Ovechkin! Waits around night. He waited for too long. Oh, that would have been sweet. Feeds it over to the right side. Then goes out in front. Bounces up. Oh. Wow, that would have been the thriller. It went right back to Ovi. Oh, that, another opportunity. Passed up, but 4:15 to go here. Still plenty of time. Here is Maroon. And it's cleared up by the Blackhawks, but they have iced it. Now do the Capitals send Ovi back onto the ice? He tried to get the record-breaking goal. He can't believe he missed out on this one. He was all alone in front, but gets forced wide at the last moment. Great defense by Kevin Korchinski to prevent that. Of course, when you're the defending team, you don't want to be that team that allows the record-breaking goal. And from the goal line, Korchinski forces OV wide. And with 4:06 to go, another shot at history. Lars Eller on this tie-up. It is won by Chicago with Vlasic in control. Vlasic bounces one, and this is controlled by the Hawks with Connor Bedard leading the way. Here's Bedard. Bedard in front, gets blocked away. And the Caps move it back. But no, it's Rinzo who fires this one as it gets to him, and Lindgren plays it out onto the near corner. Bounces up and out with Lars Eller. Last touching for Washington. Mikheyev sends this backwards. And the Blackhawks waiting timeout here. And on through the defensive side. And I'm trying to find ways in which I can get the audio of the Gretzky interview without any problems. So here's Rinzo, who fakes out a man. That's Tom Wilson. Rinzo walks in. Rinzo shakes loose. Bounces up and out. And with 3:13 to go, still time for history. And all the way down for icing, 3:11. Andrew Mangiapane lost out on the foot race. And the best that I can do is play-by-play because I cannot show the live feed given copyright issues. That's what I know for certain. 3:11 to go here in the third period. And a faceoff is won by the Blackhawks in the offensive zone. Kept in by Kaiser. Ovechkin gets turned away on a breakout. Bounces up. It's held in by Murphy. Chicago tried to spoil the party as Kershaw spins down Chikrin and does so again. And now back for Moore. Oliver Moore, the speedster. What can he do? Backhands one. Loose in the front. Lindgren's down. Gets back up onto the right side of the pole. Back for Kaiser. Wyatt Kaiser looks on for Connor Murphy. Murphy drops it for Kaiser. Kaiser shoved towards the wall, but Moore is able to hold it. Murphy waits. Now fires this one. Turned away by Lindgren. Bounces up. And on for the near corner. The Capitals trying to clear. The Blackhawks in desperation mode as Kaiser holds it. Washington ties them up all throughout as Landon Slaggers also in the midst of the chaos. Just on side is Connor Bedard, who gets this through to Kurashev. Kurashev, do they post Spencer Knight? On for the point. Right circle, it is Kurashev. Down low. And now over to Levchinov again. Levchinov spins all throughout as he waits a bit. Empty net now for Chicago, I think. 1:55 to go in the third period. Exhausted Capitals on the ice. Levchinov waits for this puck. Fans roaring here as this gets fired down through the ice onto the empty net, but it's fired wide. Brandon Duhaime tried to seal the deal with 1:43. We don't see Ovechkin yet. The fans are on their feet. They want to see Ovechkin on the ice here for the record-breaking goal. Chicago take a timeout with 1:43. Wayne Gretzky watching from above at the press box. Anders Sorensen reviewing the tape here with his guys. Does he get on the ice? He might. Does he go on to Ovechkin? He can realistically break the record in one fewer game than Wayne Gretzky. And if not tonight, he can tie the record against the Islanders on Saturday. Ovechkin and Gretzky each have 9 50-goal seasons. And Ovi has a season which he's had a 65-goal season in 08. The most in the salary cap era until Austin Matthews recorded 69 last season. Fans on their feet with 1:43 and Ovechkin on the bench. Spencer Carberry wanted to get his defensive guys out there on the ice. So on the icing call, right afterwards, we don't see him yet as Washington has to defend here. 1:43. Off the face-off win, the Capitals get the face-off. And here he goes, Ryan Leonard! First career NHL goal! Keep that puck, young man! And play Leonard Skinner. Fly high, free bird. Welcome to the NHL, Ryan Leonard. Ovechkin and Gretzky in the house. With Ovi breaking the record, we witness another young man making his mark in history, Ryan Leonard. The highly touted prospect from the Boston College Eagles gets his first career NHL goal as he fakes out Artem Levshinov, and fresh off his second consecutive 30-goal campaign with Boston College, he gets the game-sealing goal. Ovechkin's on the ice here, 5-on-5, and Chicago wanting to get set, trying to pull Spencer Knight. And they're not wanting to be that team that gives up the history marker. Here's Ovechkin, try one! And it's fired wide. And it gets shoved out of play. 1:15 to go. And he's shaking his head. So the Ovechkin boys out there on the ice. Hey, salute him. So many friends. So much family. Quick face-off. It's a tie-up on the draw. And the Capitals grab a hold of it. Here he is. Ovechkin will send this one back for Fairbury. A race for this puck. It bounced up. Here he is. Ovechkin fires it. And Spencer Knight said no. It goes out of play with 61. He's getting every sort of chance. Each play designed to help him out. And the puck is rolling up and out onto the play. They did everything right nonetheless. The entire team did everything right. And if he gets the goal, it'll be the loudest cheer. Here he is. And another glove save by Spencer Knight. And Knight gets booed by this crowd as a result. Oh my goodness. Another chance as this gets gloved. These fans want to see history. Oh my goodness. Oh! And this faceoff goes out to the Washington zone. Unassisted on the Leonard empty netter. And up for the far side of the board. Chicago picks this one up. They send this one down for the ice. And it'll be scooped up by the Capitals. But there's a tie-up at the near corner. I know Chicago has all but lost this game, but nonetheless, what the Capitals are trying to play for is the record. Here is Strome. Strome will send this in. Ovechkin missed a month and a half due to injury because of leg-on-leg collision with Jack McBain in a game against the Utah Hockey Club. And here's an odd man rush. Ovechkin will hold it, fire it, and Knight was ready the whole way. And the fans are booing him. Come on, man. And the smiles from everyone else is... Oh. Can we see a buzzer beater? As Ovechkin, he wanted the record. He's taking this one himself. Oh. A lot of shots for the Gr8. 12.8 to go. And he's still out there. Off the face-off, Chicago will take this one up. They're likely going to run down the rest of the clock. They'll get one last shot off. The chase will last one more day. It's going to carry over to Saturday afternoon at Long Island. But Alex Ovechkin exits tonight, having tied Wayne Gretzky on the all-time goals list. And the Capitals pick up a 5-3 victory. And we are going to stay with you here for the handshake lines Afterwards, the embrace here. Everyone that's played in this hockey game, fighting tooth and nail, they all salute Alex Ovechkin. He hugs all his teammates. All the Capitals teammates is McMichael. Fans standing up, saluting Ovi. On their feet, having witnessed Ovechkin tying Gretzky tonight. The 49th win of the year for the Washington Capitals. And the captain shaking hands with the Chicago Blackhawks. It's only up from here for Chicago. As everyone watches onwards from the bench on the Capitals side, the Blackhawks salute a legend, Alexander Ovechkin. Showing that respect they have. The guy that is so admired by every NHL player. It was Sunday afternoon, that is. Not Saturday afternoon. Spencer Knight would not give up a third goal from Ovechkin. And Ryan Leonard, congratulations to him too. The first career NHL goal. And Ovechkin is 894th career NHL goal. He'll want to keep those pucks as memories to remember for both number 8 Ovi salutes the crowd. And an epic night, as described by Craig Laughlin. He leads the way onto the Capitals locker room. A 5-3 victory here. And Slapshot has left his banner counter at 894. So another chance to break the record Sunday afternoon at Long Island. So, as we say goodnight from Capital One Arena, stay tuned for Sunday afternoon for either the continuation or the conclusion of the Great Chase. Caps win 5-3. I am Alec Nava. Good night, everyone.